TFA fam, what is up? What is happening? We're back.
What?
Week one, first live stream of the season. Starts it. Happy to be back. Happy that week one is finally here. Enough of the draft talk, and which player do we like more and all that stuff. Now it's on to the real deal. Time to win some championships. Isn't that right,
Starts week one.
Harold? So, first question of the night. Love to see the questions in here early, per usual. I mean, Harold was in here at 8:15 dropping the question, so love to see it.
Absolutely.
Our schedule's a little out of whack this week just because of the games that are going on and stuff like that. Normally, we do this on Wednesday night if you're new here. So we go every Wednesday night, and usually Thursday night is the DFS stream, which there's no coincidence that it's Chiefs game play on Thursday night, and that's why we're doing it. We moved it. That has nothing to do with it. So, but tomorrow night we'll be back live for the DFS show, where Ryan Williams, little spoiler alert, if you're here, will be back with us every single week. He reached out and asked if he could come back. I was like, come on. He's a much better host than I am. When it comes to DFS shows. So, and we'll also have Debro, so it's going to be a full house tomorrow night. All four of us, the old band, getting it back together. Normally we save it for the Thanksgiving slate, but we're doing it week one. So, but we're not here for that. So let's just get into it. We have Mostert, Connor, Zamir White, Hubbard, me too, non-PPR.
I'm going first too. The other one I would be considering here would be Zamir White going up against the Chargers. It's close, but I like the game environment a little bit better for the Dolphins-Jags game that we had. We talked about and covered on the wide receiver show and the running back show, I do believe. Connor, I think, is in a really good spot going up against the Bills, even though they are 6-point underdogs the last I saw. I'll double check that, but Connor's a workhorse. I'm not afraid of the Buffalo defensive line, so I'm going Mostert and Kana.
I think in a half-point PPR, or half-point, in a non-PPR, excuse me, I do agree with Mostert just because of his touchdown upside. And then I think I would actually lean Zamir White, but it is close between Connor and Zamir and those two. I do agree that I think Mostert, but I think I would go Zamir White in this matchup because I'm just not that concerned with like the Chargers like getting out to this big lead. And these are going to be very two slow-paced offenses, things like that. So yeah, I'm not. I would go Mostert and Zamir White here, but it is close with James Conner and non PPR. Quentin, long time no see. We are happy to be back. We're rating your 12-man Dynasty Superflex half-point PPR tight end premium. Mahomes, Kyler, AOC, Tune, and then Kyron Cook, Brian Robinson, Eckler, Dylan Lobby, Drake London, Chris Olave, Amari, Godwin, Dobbs, McMillan, Pop, tight end, Kit, JT, Conklin. That's a lot.
I mean, obviously you have an elite pairing with Mahomes and Kyler. Kyron takes a little bit of a hit. I'm not super distressed or worried about the reports coming out with the punt returns. I think a lot of people are forgetting that Kyron handled punt returns last year as well at the beginning of the season. We knew that Corum was going to have some sort of role. This kind of just like solidified it to me. So like I'm not super worried about it. And we also have to remember too that there are very few running backs out there that are getting 80% opportunity share. So of course Kyron takes a little bit of a ding, but I'm not all that worried about it. Really like your wide receivers. I'm going to go ahead and give you I'm going to go a solid B here, Quentin.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really is probably just the backup quarterback, right? If something were to happen to one of these two gentlemen, just because AOC and Tune, obviously. But yeah, I think it's a solid team.
Yeah. I like it.
Jose, start sit, 10 teams. Half-point PPR, Kyler, Gibbs, James Cook, Tyreek, London, Laporta, Waddle, Fairbairn, love it. I know so much about kickers now. I've done so much. I've done 2 kicker videos in the last month, so like I am locked in on the kicker. Like any kicker question, I am in on. Bench: Chase Brown, Aaron Jones, Flowers, Higgins, Rome, Dunzy, and Nick Chubb. So we don't have to worry about the quarterback. That's locked in.
I mean, I think the only thing I would potentially look at here would be Higgins over Waddle, but only if we get like some negative news on Waddle. That'd be the only thing. Or if for some reason Chase does not suit up week 1. So if Chase is out week 1, or if Waddle does not get in a full practice at all during this week, I would go Higgins. But other than that, I would leave it as is.
Yeah, does he not have a flex? I don't see a flex.
Waddle.
Oh, you're right. I read that. Okay, yeah, I see where you put that, Laporta. Yeah, I mean, if I think I'm to the point now, I don't think Jamar Chase is going to play. 'Cause did he return to practice today? I was trying to look. I didn't see anything that. I didn't see that. I know he didn't practice yesterday.
No, I didn't. He was not. He was there, but in street clothes.
Yeah, I would be shocked at this point if he plays. I mean, he's missed so much time, and he still is not there. Like CeeDee Lamb was kind of up in the air if he was going to play. I mean, he sounds like he's good to go, but I don't think he plays. I don't think this is gonna. I don't think he's going to get this done. So like, I think he's even if he came back to practice, I don't think he'd be ready to go and play week 1 at this point. So I've already made the correction and my rankings. I moved Chase all the way down out of my top 36. But I moved T. Higgins all the way pretty significantly up to wide receiver 15. So I think it comes down to like I still might lean Waddle just because of the matchup here against Jacksonville. Terrific matchup. Don't necessarily love playing Tyreek and Waddle. Like it's I find it hard to believe that both of them going off. So that's in that situation with having Tyreek and Waddle, I probably would just go and plug in T. Higgins.
I didn't see that. I went immediately to the bench and started looking around. Yeah, good call. Good catch. Good catch, Kev.
KD23, what's up,
KD.
TFA? Hype for the season. Love to see you back. Love to see some of the familiar faces. Walito, happy to have you back in here. Walito, we are fucking back, baby. Just like in the Hangover. We're back.
So back.
And then Yusuf, Terry McLaurin for Dave Montgomery at flex.
I'm going to go TMC here.
Yeah, I really like Terry McLaurin this year. I really do.
Yeah. I like him in this spot too.
Yeah. Rashad Penny lover himself. Guess who's back?
Not Rashad Penny.
I know. That was the first thing we sent in Discord whenever we saw it. I had to have a moment of silence for the icon.
Pour one out.
This is the same team? Yeah, that's the same team.
Yeah.
With Chubb on IR, should I take Warren, Ford, Hubbard, Dowdle, Benson, Corum, Palmer, or any other from waivers or Bengals D for this week? That's a long list of really good players that I'd like to have on my team. Honestly, I think I'll just go Warren. Just because I like his opportunity.
Yeah, Jose, with your team, I think you're set with receivers. Obviously, Tyreek, Leonard, Waddle, Flowers, Higgins, Rome on the bench. Running backs a little more up in the air. But yeah, I agree. I would lean Warren slightly over Ford.
I'm trying to look at the rest of his.
And I guess
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have anybody. I was trying to see if there's anybody else to like maybe swap out from his bench, but no. I'm not dropping any of those players. So yeah, I think I would.
Then I would probably lean Bengals D over Jets for this week, but I wouldn't drop any. Like if you have like an open spot, I would rather have Warren over holding a second defense. If you have another open spot, I would consider adding the Bengals D, but if not, I would just roll with the Jets defense and just leave it as is.
Yeah, because the Jets defense, I mean, after this week against the 49ers, then you get the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos. I mean, so they go on a really strong run after that of teams. And you got the Vikings, which you can go either way about, the Bills, the Steelers, the Patriots again. The Jets have a really long run. So I wouldn't want to drop the Jets. But yeah, I would probably just hold the Jets for this week. I don't think it's going to kill you to play
Yeah.
them. And I wouldn't want to hold two defenses just for that. Scary Terry or Marvin Harrison?
Nobody just talked about we really like Scary Terry this week, but having said that, I'm going Marv.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Before I get to my first question, I would like to take the time to honor the Hall of Famer career, the icon, the legend that is Rashad Penny. Can we have 5 seconds of honorable silence?
No. Next question.
Y'all skip me. We did not skip you. We
Nope.
answered your question. Terry for David. Yeah, we already did that.
Yeah, we already did this.
And then
It's the same thing.
okay. We're just okay. So we spammed it. All
right. RD, let's go.
Hit that like button, folks. Don't be cheap. Love to see you here, Ronnie.
It's free anyway.
Be growing stuff. PPR. Yeah, pick one. Ridley, Pickens, or Terry McLaurin for week 1.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with McLaurin here. Will, what's up? Will, what's up, y'all? Mizzou, M-I-Z. Number 10. We're now 9th. I think you guys Penn State's 7th, I think? 6th?
No, we stayed at 8.
Oh, you guys didn't move up.
We did not move.
Missouri did. So there's that. After they played Murray State, big time, big 51-0 win over Murray State. But I will say now, like before, like I thought like they didn't have a game to even worry about whatsoever until they get to Texas A&M. Now with the way that they took the doors off of Florida State, I was like, okay, maybe we should be a little bit more worried about Boston College than I was before. Before I thought that was going to be another ass whooping. So, anyways, we don't have time to talk about that. I have Jamar Chase. If he doesn't play, should I start my flex? Hopkins, Rice, Eckler, Chase Brown. Rice plays. Oh, yeah, I'm going Rashee Rice.
Yep.
That's an easy case. And I mean, obviously, you should know. I mean, if with him not practicing today, like if he doesn't practice tomorrow, like it's pretty much all but certain that he's not playing. I don't think he's playing at all. Like even like I said, even if he were to return, I just don't see it away considering how much he sat out. I mean, I don't see him being ready to go and then just plugging him in.
Yeah.
808. Happy to see 808 back up in here with the icy Broncos helmet as the Avi. Sup, fellas? Back again for the year. Let's get this dub week 1. Absolutely. We're digging a little deep already on week 1 with Luke Musgrave or Greg Dulcich. I do think Greg Dulcich, though, is a pretty strong like late round sleeper tight end this year. But for week 1, I'm going to go with Luke Musgrave.
I'm going to go with Dulcich.
Ooh, okay.
Just because I think there's less to worry about in that Broncos offense. So I think Dulcich could be second for the Broncos in terms of targets and just receiving production overall behind Sutton. Luke Musgrave, I don't feel as strongly about.
And his next one, I mean, I should have picked a different name for my burner account instead of my own name, Kevin. So Kevin Flagg. Am I crazy of thinking Javonte Williams will have a great year? I guess I found another Javonte Stan. So this is not my burner account. This is Kevin Flagg. This is not my burner.
Flag.
But Kevin's do think alike because I'm probably not the best person to ask when it comes to this because I do have a little bit of bias with my love for Javonte, but I do think he is going to have a really strong year this year.
Yeah, I would bump it down from great to I think he has a solid. I think he has a solid year. I think he's a really good pick at ADP. I will say that. I think where his ADP is, I think he has a bounce back year. But I do really like him at cost, and I think he basically fits any type of draft strategy you had this year. Whether you're going 0 RB, whether you went hero, whatever it is. I do like Javonte. Not sure about great, just because I'm not sure how strong overall this Broncos offense is going to be, but I do think he's a really good pick at ADP, and I think he's going to have a bounce back year.
Yeah, which is funny because like 3 months ago, there was like some beats that put out that like he's going to be like he was a cut candidate. I'm just like, oh my, and now this looks silly, but I think you love to see he's back down to his college playing weight, so he lost the weight that that he needed to. All reports are that he looks fantastic in camp and preseason and everything else. So I think, I mean, he was already the lead back last year, and yeah, I know there's the Jaleel McLaughlin high, which I think he's going to have a better year, but people still are hyping him up. Like, I mean, people forget that he played like only 2 games where he played more than 20% of the snaps. Like, he wasn't like this huge factor that everybody else tries to make him out to be. I do think he'll have a role, but I think Javonte is still probably going to be 65% opportunities, I think, probably the way this shakes out. So I do like Javonte Williams a lot. Brandon, is Keon Coleman too risky to start, and if so, do you think he starts to make an impact? When do you think?
Brandon, if you're still rocking with us, can you let us know your other options? I don't necessarily think he's too risky to start, but it depends on the other options you have. Because
Yeah, I mean,
especially if Curtis Samuel is going to be limited or potentially just out for this game with his turf toe, I do think he is back practicing. But with this matchup against Arizona, I mean, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. But if you're still here, let us know what other options you have.
yeah, I think there's range of outcomes for him where he ends up being like a really solid red zone option. Maybe somebody that gets like 800-900 yard receiving, maybe 7-8 touchdowns this year because of the opportunities. But it also wouldn't shock me if he has like a Quentin Johnson type season. Like, I think there's range of outcomes to him. I don't think he's Quentin Johnson. I don't think that's who he is. Uh, but I think there's I definitely think there's red flags with his like profile, but he's in a great spot with a great offense. Just a lot of things you could say about like Quentin Johnson last year. But by all reports, like Quentin Johnson it was all negative, like all training camp, all preseason, like it was nothing positive for him. That has not been the case with Keon Coleman. There's been a lot of positivity surrounding him. So I think he can be a pretty solid option. So Jameson or Keon Coleman. Let me see. I have this about as close as you can get it in terms of my weekly rankings of where I have him. And I have Keon Coleman one spot ahead of Jameson Williams. I have Keon Coleman at 47 and Jameson Williams at 48. For the record, I have Khalil Shakir at 39.
I would go Jameson Williams.
Let me ask you this. Here's a good question. So normally we're not really talking about this, but with the likelihood that Jamar Chase misses, with him missing, I think that really opens the door for Ishivas as an option this week. And so I actually have Ishivas with the thought that Jamar Chase doesn't play. I have him moved up to wide receiver 37
Ooh.
because I mean they're going to throw the ball a ton. Like, it doesn't matter if Jamar Chase is out there or not. Like, they're going to be a team that throws the ball, you know, uh, a lot. They're also a team that runs a heavy 11 personnel, and so he's going to be out there whether he's in the slot or not. And so he kind of showed a little rapport late last year. I think he's somebody that, like, for week one could be a really strong option and somebody that I would play over both of these guys if Jamar Chase misses. So he's not a bad option to somebody that's stashed on your bench to see what happens with Jamar Chase, because like I said, I just don't think he's going to play. And so I think he would be the name that I would really look at here. Jermaine Burton also could be an option. I know he's kind of listed just behind Jamar Chase so he could actually play like Jamar Chase type of role within the offense. But I still would think Ishvas could be somebody that sees a heavy amount of targets for week one.
I would still lean Jameson Williams slightly just because I think he has the higher ceiling. But I think what you
Long
said
term
makes
for
sense.
sure. I just, for this 1 week, I wouldn't mind that as an option. That's never mind. I got it. Forgot. Kevin again. Also, Pickens or Sutton in my flex. Horrible draft this year. I mean, I don't think so. But I do have to ask a question, Kevin. Are you a Broncos fan? Just with Javonte and Cortland Sutton? Just curious. I'm going to go George Pickens on this one.
Pickens by a smidge, but it is close for me.
CHB, I dropped my drink when I heard the icon retired. I know I have to find the next Rashad Penny. let's see. I mean, we have to remember how it happened. I mean, I got screwed out of it the last time. This is always a story we've told so many times, but I was the big Rashad Penny guy telling everybody to pick him up. And I just happened to not be able to make that show. And Cody made the recommendation. And somehow he's always gotten the credit for it.
Yeah, CHB, just you have to wait. Find the guy that Kev is talking about all year that I make fun of him for and shit on him for. And then when he's not around and you ask a start set question, that's how you're gonna know the answer.
Yeah. Any trade targets y'all suggest for my team? Let me go back up.
Nothing that like stands out to me super obviously. Obviously with having Brian Robinson and Eckler, that's not ideal. But there's like nothing that stands out to me in terms of like a true weakness on that team. I think it also depends on how many of these that you're starting. If it's just like the super flex, 2 running back, 2 receiver, and then a tight end, that obviously gives you a little more wiggle room than if it's starting 3 wide receivers or if it's a bunch of flex spots. So there's like nothing obvious that stands out to me with this team in terms of guys you should be looking to trade away or easy upgrades with that squad either. Like Kev said earlier, obviously your QB3 is the weak spot here with AOC and Toon, who are not starting as of right now. But I mean, and also like Superflex leagues are so league specific as well. Like some are a little bit easier to make some trades, some are harder. If you can go out and maybe look for like a Minshew, just to get like because then you'll have obviously Minshew and AOC. I wouldn't necessarily want to lock up two spots on my team for a Raiders QB, but like a Geno, if it all just depends on if teams in your league hoard quarterbacks, how easy they are to come by. But other than that, I there's nothing obvious that stands out to me right now.
I mean, maybe trying to. The only thing I could see is like just because like running back depth isn't great. Like maybe trying to get like a lower hanging fruit type of running back, like a rookie running back this year. I don't know, like a Jalen Wright type, something like that. Because I mean, I think Blake Corum would probably cost you a lot more, but like even like an Andre Estime, like trying to get like some depth there because like I don't feel great about like anything after Cook, or I should say after Brian Robinson, especially in Dynasty. Like if you could try to go out and maybe get one of those, because like there is some depth here, some other spots that you might be able to deal away from that you could possibly solidify the rest. But overall, I don't think it's anything like crazy. Oh wow, 2 quarterbacks, 3 flex, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. So one of those obviously being a super flex, right? Or no, never mind. I see that. Okay, yeah.
Some deep starting lineups too. Yeah, like I said, nothing really stands out to me that's like super obvious right off the bat.
Incognito, full PPR, Tyreek, David Montgomery, or AJ Brown, James Cook. Ooh. I think I go. Oh man, I think I go Tyreek side on this. I love AJ Brown, and I don't think he's that far off of Tyreek. And I actually James Cook is an upgrade to me, but I don't know that ceiling that Tyreek has. I don't think AJ Brown has.
Yeah, I'm going Tyreek and Monty as well.
TN, the GOAT, the man, the guy that's been here since the beginning.
The OG.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he was our first subscriber on this channel. Been around forever. Happy to see him. As always, hope you had a great summer, TN.
Jaden Reed back, my man.
Yeah. And many things. Half point PPR, Jaden Reed or McLaurin.
I'm going to go Terry there. It's close, and we need to watch if Romeo Dobbs misses. Guess he left practice early today with a hand injury, I think it was. But I'm going to go McLaurin there. think he has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, I agree. I just the clear path. Like I think that like Jane Reed, I felt like kind of got a little disrespected this year. Like just because there really wasn't a lot of excitement about him for a rookie wide receiver that had the year that he had last year. But I think all of them kind of got disrespected, right? Because like it's like nobody really. It's hard to really want to plant a flag when you have Christian Watson. I think there's definitely the scenario where he breaks out this year. You have Dontavian Wicks-Hive that has been strong all offseason of people believing that he's going to step into a role. Jaden Reed. So it's tough to try to trust, but I think Jaden Reed got a little disrespected. But yeah, I think on this one I would still go Terry McLaurin. On this one, where did every week we always feel like there's a player that we pick for everybody that everybody has a question about, and this week it's shaping up to be Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
So don't let us down, Scary, and we appreciate you, TN, as
Yes.
always. Whether the super chat or not, just happy to see you here.
Absolutely.
Czar, the goats, Godwin or Ayuk. This is tough. One matchup, like I don't love the matchup against the Jets, right? Sauce Gardner, that defense is phenomenal. There's probably going to be some sort of like retribution because last year, obviously, this is the same matchup it was last year, right? Whenever Rodgers got hurt, but it was in New York, I believe. Isn't that who they were playing week 1 last year? Was the 49ers? Trying to remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Bills.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I think it was the Bills. I think you're right. Either way, you have that factor into this. 2, Brandon Ayuk has kind of missed a significant amount of time. I would expect he's on some sort of pitch count, like he's not going to be out there for full allotment of snaps. So I think just for this week, I'm going to go Chris Godwin. And I actually really like Chris Godwin this year. I think he said that wasn't really talked about, but Liam Cohen really kind of highlights the slot. And like, I think that's where coming from that Rams offense, I think he kind of plays that Cooper Kupp type role for this team this year. And so last year it was really highlighted for Mike Evans and like Dave Canales really pushed the ball to him, and we didn't see as much Chris Godwin. I think that kind of reverts this year. And I think Chris Godwin gets back to being like that top 24 wide receiver that we typically used to see. So I actually prefer Chris Godwin this week. I would go Chris Godwin over Ayuk. I mean, most weeks I'm going to go Ayuk, but this week I think I would go Godwin with all the other factors. So
I'm with you.
is this the same question? Oh yeah, we already got this one. And then which running back to draft, Kyron or Achane?
That to me, CHB just depends on whether you want to swing for the fences or you want to play it safe. I think Kyron is a safer play. Achan is the swing for the fences play.
It's wild to me with Achane because I feel the same way with him. Like I feel like that there's the ceiling where he could be like a top 3 running back this year. But there's also another scenario where the touchdowns don't hit like they did last year. But his touchdown rate was phenomenal. It was actually just under Raheem Mostert. Both of them had just a ridiculous touchdown rates last year. But for a player that only played 40% of the snaps last year, like just I don't know, it could definitely go the other way. But I definitely agree. I think Achane is definitely the ceiling play. Kyron's also taken a bad rap this year because of the quorum stuff. But I have learned the hard way that don't get into arguments with even try to talk sense at anybody when it comes to Kyron because there is a loyal, faithful group out there that will defend Kyron to the death of this. But I think Kyron's going to be fine. I think Blake Corum stuff is a little bit overvalued, overhyped. As long as he can stay healthy, I think that he probably maintains a pretty significant role. He was also really, really fucked up. But I agree. I think he has a safer floor, but Achane has the higher ceiling. Also, love to see this from Last Fish in the Pond. Last Fish in the Pond on Twitch. Again, you're one of the people that have been around for a while. I absolutely love the Survivor picks. I don't know. We went pretty far last year with the Survivor picks, I think. So the slate is wide open. Any good Survivor picks? Thinking Seattle versus Denver, Buffalo versus Arizona, Chicago versus Tennessee, and New Orleans versus Carolina. Maybe rank these or propose a team. Thanks.
I think I'm going. If I had to rank them, I would go Seattle 1, and the Saints 2. I'd want to hold on to Buffalo if possible. Chicago I like. Like, it just, like, worries me a little bit to put all that faith into a week 1 pick. Tennessee's defense is gonna be much improved. I think the offense is gonna be improved as well with Callahan. Callahan? Coming
Yeah.
over, so I think I would lean Seattle.
Yeah, and their line opened up. They were 4.5 point favorites, and it's been bet up to 6. So I think they're the biggest. No, the biggest favorite is the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, they're 8 point favorites over the Patriots. But I agree. I think I would. Like I don't know if it's like I don't feel like it's a sure thing because like it's definitely possible the Broncos come out and smack them in the face. Like that's not out of the range of possibility. Like I feel like the most surefire, I think, just one to me feels like the Bengals over the Patriots. But I also would like to keep the Bengals in my back pocket if I could for a little bit longer than
Yeah.
the season. So yeah, I think Seattle probably would be number one for me on this list. I definitely wouldn't do Buffalo or Arizona. Like I don't feel great about that at all. Like Arizona could definitely knock off the Bills.
Yeah.
New Orleans feels like one that should be a little bit more obvious, right? Gets Carolina, but I don't know. Like, do you believe in the Dave Canales quarterback whisperer that he was able to turn around Geno Smith? He was able to turn around and really provide Baker Mayfield with the best year he's ever had in his career too. Like, I mean, people are he could do that with Bryce Young, but and it's New Orleans. I know Walito's probably in your like upset about that, but like, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. The Chicago, Tennessee is actually one of the teams I really like their offense this year. A little bit undervalued, so I think if this list, I would go Seattle. If I was going to go to a different one, it would be Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think you look at the Dolphins over the Jags. I think at home, week 1, or the actually, I don't want to say that. I'm gonna say that the Bucks over the Commanders, but I don't feel great about that either.
Yeah, I know Jaden Daniels there. Atlanta defense or Pittsburgh or Tennessee versus Indy, who you like more? Only thing that worries me about Atlanta is the game. It feels like it could be a really slow paced game, I should say. What is his total on this game?
I think it's tied for the lowest on the week. I think it was at 42, 42 and a half, I think. 42. And that has been bet down from 45 and a half.
Yeah, it looks like there's a couple other the Raiders game's 40.5, the Patriots game's 40.5, and
Giants Vikings 41.
yeah. And then you have the Browns Cowboys 41.5.
Yeah. It was tied for the second lowest.
Yeah. I think I would stick with Atlanta here on this one. And I've talked a lot about the Texans. I like a lot of what they've done this offseason.
Yeah.
They've made a lot of improvements on their defense, most notably Daniil Hunter. That was a big time improvement. I think now you have you're kind of a two-headed monster in terms of your pass rush. But the Colts have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So, that is going to be a little bit of a tough challenge right out the gate. And so for me, I think I would stick with Atlanta. I really like the addition of Judon that they were able to get if he still has something left to take. Justin Simmons was a big time
Yeah.
upgrade as well at safety. So, and they already have really good secondary play. So that was kind of their missing piece was the ability to be able to get a pass rush. So I think I would stick with Atlanta going against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
At the very least, they're not going to kill you.
Right.
Derek, happy to see you back here with a $4.99 super chat. We appreciate that. 10-team full PPR quarterbacks: Anthony Richardson, T-Law, Bijan, JT, Ford, Spears, Edwards, Waddle, Smith, Ayuk, Jaden Reed, Brian Thomas. Love Brian Thomas. Kincaid, rate my team. Unless I'm assuming it's just a single quarterback. You don't need Trevor Lawrence with Anthony Richardson. Kind of talk about this a lot. Like if you're going to invest that kind of draft capital and likely what you invested in Anthony Richardson, you don't need Trevor Lawrence at that point. You're never probably going to really play him over Anthony Richardson. bye weeks, you can definitely stream, especially in 10-team. Running backs, really love that. Bijan JT, that is great. Your depth is phenomenal with Jerome Ford, Tajay Spears. Wide receiver, you don't have like an elite wide receiver here, obviously, because you went a little bit heavier with the running backs with Bijan and JT. So you kind of missed that elite tier of wide receiver, but still have really solid high end wide receiver too with Waddle. Devonta Smith's going to be a really solid wide receiver too. Ayuk, so I mean, really strong. Like you don't have that elite guy, but I think overall still really good. And then like the bench options with Jaden Reed, Brian Thomas, I think is going to be a baller, and then Dalton Kincaid. Actually, I think he has a real path to being the number one tight end this year. Like I talked about it a lot, the last month about tight ends and how you didn't need to draft Laporta or Kelsey, and especially because neither one of those guys I don't think will provide the type of upside that you want. Like if you're going to draft a tight end in the top 2 rounds, like they need to be able to put up elite level production to be able to get there. Like it has to be like Travis Kelsey, when he was getting 1,400 receiving yards and 10 plus touchdowns to be justified drafting him there. And the only tight end, honestly, out of all of them, all of the top 7 kind of guys we talk about, Kincaid's the only one with a clear path to being like the number 1 target earner for his offense. Like you might be able to make a case, I guess, for like Mark Andrews, but then you still have Zay Flowers there. Like right now, I mean, Dalton Kincaid has a clear path to being like the number 1 tight end. So I think the rest of the team is really solid.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to add. Really like it. I drop Trevor Lawrence, assuming this is not a Superflex league. I drop Trevor Lawrence and I'd pick up another wide receiver.
Yeah. 808,
Appreciate
would
you,
you
DJ.
would you stash Rico or Dalvin Cook? Rico.
Rico.
I'm not stashing Dalvin Cook.
No.
See, as a Steelers fan, how do you truly feel about your quarterback situation?
Not great, Bob.
I've never understood why Mike Tomlin doesn't just go out and hire like one of these young offensive coordinators, then let them, like we always have to go like worst case scenario. Like who was the last good offensive coordinator? Was it Todd Haley? Was that the last? Like I don't even know if Todd Haley was a good offensive coordinator. Like that's a stretch. But like who was
Bruce Arians.
Oh, good, yeah, good call. Good pool. Yeah. That makes it, yeah. But and how long ago was that? That was forever ago.
Yeah. Well, Matt Canada was supposed to be that guy, if you remember correctly, coming from Maryland, coming from the college program. He was supposed to be that guy. He was not that guy.
And it's just these cocoon coaches that I don't know how they keep getting these opportunities with like Arthur Smith. Like he was so bad with Atlanta, and I don't know, whatever. So
Roonies are apparently pretty stingy when it comes to that, and I think that's more the reason why.
Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Who would have thought? Like, if you would have asked me at the beginning of last year, then you told me like I look in the future and Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are going to be your starting quarterbacks for the Steelers, or there would be the quarterbacks there in that room. I don't know if I'd believed you.
Yeah, me either.
Josh, what's up? Quick question: DK or James Conner in a standard league? I'm always going to lean towards a running back in a standard league, so I'm going to go James Conner.
Conner, but it's close.
Playing in a 2 QB league, who would you play along with Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Wilson or Geno? I'm going to go Geno here.
Geno.
I think we already got
that was the other option for Brennan.
Michael, week 1, Michael Say, week 1, Rashad White or Marvin Harrison? Who y'all starting at flex?
Wow. I lean Rashad White. It's because of the matchup.
This one, I'm going to go Marvin Harrison.
It's really close. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good matchup, though, for Rashad White. I mean, with the way that, Commanders were last year, the Commanders were not great against the running back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Marvin Harrison. I'm sticking to it.
Sorry, we weren't any help to you, Michael.
I just think it's close between those two. But yeah. Anyways, 808. Jameson Williams or Christian Watson. I'm gonna go Watson.
Watson.
Gross tight end question: Hunter Henry or Luke Musgrave?
I will go Luke here.
Damn it. I'd agree. I'm gonna go Hunter Henry. Crab gravy. Love to see it. Love to see crab gravy back here. The boys are back. Let's effing go. Yeah, we are. It's a while. Oh yeah, that was sorry. We already got that one. I have a strong feeling that Sam Darnold is going to be a sleeper quarterback this year. Is that crazy? I mean, we saw like Nick Mullins last year produce in the same offense with KOC. So like I don't think it's crazy. And Sam Darnold's had stretches where he looks like a good quarterback. You know, been on some really bad teams as well. But so I don't think it's crazy. I mean, with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T. Jackson coming back at some point. So I don't hate it. I definitely think there's going to be weeks where we're saying Sam Darnold's a streaming option for this week. Those are definitely coming.
Yeah.
How's y'all drafts been going? Feeling pretty good. Played in my home league yesterday. Went pretty well. Got most of the guys that I was targeting. The only one that I regretted was I took Brian Robinson in it's like the 8th round, and Jonathan Brooks was still on the board. This is a keeper league, keep up to 6 players, and as soon as I did it, I like Jonathan Brooks went like 5 picks later, and I was like, but makes more sense. I mean, for season long, just for this year, I mean, I think it's a better bet for Brian Robinson, and I really needed a second running back because I only had Kenneth Walker, so that's why I did it.
Yeah, mine been going well. Mostly Dynasty, so just a bunch of rookie drafts. Did have my home redraft a couple of weeks ago. Just a lot of beers and food involved in that one. So doesn't really matter. Just the experience is more fun. I do have one more left. I have a work league left tomorrow, so be interested to see how that goes.
Those are always wild. You never know how they're going to turn out.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect.
Home leagues are so wild because like there's so many different like range of outcomes for them. Like I think in this league, like somebody took a defense in like the 10th round. Like they just like players that start flying off the boards at all times. Like at different times, you do all these mocks, you do all this other stuff, like you do all these like SFB drafts and everything else, and you think that you're like prepared for stuff, and then it's like okay, like I wouldn't. All of a sudden, like there was like 6 or 7 defenses were drafted by like the 13th round. I'm like, all right. Samaje Perine was drafted in like the 8th round. So I do live in Kansas City, so
I don't think there was anything super crazy. One of my buddies, for whatever reason, went 4 straight running backs. It was pretty standard. It's two running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, 2 flex. And literally before the draft started, he's like, I always get screwed over with running backs. It's not happening this year. 4 straight running backs, 1 wide receiver, and then 3 straight tight ends.
Was this like a tight end premium?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. That was probably the thing that stood out the most. But it wasn't as bad as previous years. Normally there's like defense is even earlier than yours, kicker is even earlier than yours. There wasn't anything too crazy. Although someone did take TJ Hawkinson as their second tight end, which just felt like a wasted pick.
Yeah, considering I don't even know how long he's going to be out. Like I think there's a chance he's out for like 6-7 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Derek, my second team, 10-team PPR, Jordan Love, Jacobs, Pacheco, Rashad White. That's Jamal Williams or maybe Javonte. I'm guessing Javonte. Let's just guess Javonte. Zeke, McLaughlin, and Tyreek, DK, Kirk, Brian Thomas, Palmer, Wicks, Pitts. Now this team, this is like a minus, I think.
Yeah, really like this one as well.
Yeah. I felt a lot this year every time like I would do a mock or the drafts I did. Like when I wasn't reaching for a quarterback and a tight end, I like those teams way more because you can just tell the difference when people are drafting the tight end and and their quarterbacks so early, the players that you end up missing out on. And I think it's like a good because Pitts was like a sixth, seventh round pick, I think, in most leagues this year. So he wasn't like reaching as far up to get him. And then yeah, I'm sure you got Jordan Love, especially in a 10-team league, probably like 11th, 12th round, something around there. And I think the team just looks way better in that scenario versus the people that are reaching on those positions. So yeah, I think this is a really, really strong team.
Yeah,
Nice work here.
like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Derek.
Yep. Quentin again. I think Davos is going to play, but we slightly hindered with a hand contusion.
Yeah, I didn't see what it was. All I saw was that he left early. So, I mean, if it's just a hand contusion, he'll be fine. Appreciate the update, Quentin.
Yeah. Jack, Michael Pittman or Zay Flowers? I'm gonna go Pittman here.
Pittman.
I do like Zay Flowers here. Probably wants a little. There's gonna be a little bit of revenge here, especially whenever Zay Flowers fumbled right there on the goal line. The last time these two teams played in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
regardless, I still go Pittman here. Uncle Ted, Zamir White will be a top 5. Uncle Ted, I didn't know we were doing bold predictions, hot takes, but I'm not going to say I don't like it because I think there's a path, but I don't necessarily love the offense. I don't know if he's going to be involved in the passing game enough, like in your normal full PPR leagues, that he's going to be able to get to the top 5. But I think there's a world where he could be like a low end RB1 this year. I don't think it's crazy to say. Our A Chain is like 150 pounds soaking wet. I mean, he's like 190 pounds. Okay, like it's not 150, but they said he put on some weight, which I don't ever love when running backs put on weight. I like to hear when they take weight off because it just seems to like they're not as agile, they're not as kind of quite as explosive once they put on all that extra weight. I don't know how much it actually was. I think he said he put on like 10 extra pounds, but yeah, man, we're just going all in, Uncle Ted. With we'll get to him as we go. Ham, should I trade Amari Cooper for Tank Dell? No.
I'll give him Coop.
Yeah. Like people don't realize how good Amari Cooper was last year. Whenever you took out the bums that he was playing with, like even with Deshaun Watson last year, I think his first 5 games, I think he averaged like 17 and a half PPR points per game,
Mm-hmm.
and then with Joe Flacco, it was up to 20 PPR points per game. Like he was really good whenever the quarterback stayed healthy. Their backups are a little bit better this year as well, so we're not gonna have to worry about some of the other guys if Deshaun Watson were to go down. So Amari Cooper, I think, is a really strong like top 15 wide receiver, still the number 1 wide receiver. Yes, they have a Njoku, they brought in Judy, but Tank Dell, I love Tank Dell. I think they never should have brought in Stephon Diggs, but they did. And Diggs is going to take away opportunity here for this, unless they're going to significantly increase their pass rate from last year. Because last year, they were like middle of the road. I think they were like 16th, 17th in pass rate per game. So, Michael again, Chase Brown or Zach Moss? I'm going to lean Zach Moss. At least to start.
Yeah, I was on especially if this is just for this week.
Yeah.
Give me Zach Moss with the Bengals being 8.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I think Chase Brown has a potential to take over as the season goes on, but I don't believe it. Right off the gate, I'm gonna go with Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Gibbs this year's RB1. Okay, Uncle Ted. Gibbs going 2K Folk style. I mean, wouldn't hate it. I have some Gibbs shares. Adam Thielen is a steal. 100 catch guy going round 15. He's not gonna catch 100 catches. Nowhere close. Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now that they have Deontay Johnson. Not gonna happen.
There's the first one where I will say you're off your rocker, Uncle Ted.
Yeah. And Trey Benson, the stud. Okay. He kind of struggled a little bit in training camp, preseason. The last preseason game, I think the third one, he actually looked a lot better. I think it was. Maybe it was the second, but I think it was the last one. He looked a hell of a lot better. But still going to need something more than that. The dough, rate please. Stroud, Love, Hall, Kyron, Pacheco, Cabrera, Dell, Rice, Jake Ferguson, Metcalf, Keon Coleman, Shakir, Palmer. I don't know if
I
this
like
is
it a lot.
I'm gonna keep saying it. Like if this is a single quarterback league, don't love the two quarterbacks here with Stroud and Jordan Love. But other than that, your running backs are really strong with
Yeah.
Brees Hall, Kyron Williams, Pacheco, Kamara. Receivers, you could definitely see that you drafted running back early, heavy because I mean you're having Tank Dell, Rasheed Rice, but though Rasheed Rice could end up being a steal, and I mean DK Metcalf is still top 20 wide receiver overall. Like I think this team could be good. Like I think this could be a year this year. Like I wish we never did it. The nuts on the table bowl takes that we normally do. Just couldn't fit it in this year. But one of mine would have been that I think that we're going to see a little bit of a flip back to kind of the old school thing where I think people that drafted running back heavy are going to be a little bit more happier than people who drafted wide receiver heavy early. I think the start of like double running back or the stupid that we have to do name a strategy for everything, but double hero RB strategy that I've been seeing people talk about. Like, oh, this mean the way that everybody used to always draft. Okay. But anyway, I digress. I'm not gonna get on that soapbox right now. But I think that could end up being like the kind of the meta strategy this year. There's a lot of red flags or question marks with like your elite wide receivers this year. Tyreek's 30. I'm not going to say that he's going to get hurt, but he's getting closer to that range. You have the Jamar Chase stuff that's going on. We typically see wide receivers that tend to there are players that miss camp tend to get hurt because they didn't get all that opportunity. So like something like CeeDee Lamb, does he get hurt or something like that? Like I'm not saying like significant, but there's some red flags here with a lot of these guys where I feel like that, at least for the Brees Hall, the Bijan Robinsons, like I think those guys are such value that I think we could end up like be where we see kind of it flip back a little bit because we got too heavy in running backs this year or wide receivers. I think to this point this year.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's went on a little bit of a rant. Say that to say, really strong team here.
Yeah, and I think if when the time comes, you can easily upgrade at wide receiver. Whether it's taking one of those Bills receivers and pairing it with Kyron, Kamara, something like that. I think you'll be able to easily upgrade if need be.
Should have known this was going to come from Walito. Bet $200 on the Saints money line. I mean, he just loves to pay the rake. He loves, paying the house. So, hey, I mean, I wouldn't go. I don't think they're a lock. I'll say that. Another one, Ted. Carolina will be the first in the South. No division flips more from worst to first.
I mean, in that division, it could be possible, but I think they lost too much on defense. I think they're going to be improved. I think that they are going to be better than what people are expecting, but I think they lost too much on defense, and I don't think their offense is strong enough to be the first.
I don't think it's crazy because like I think the Bucks are going to have a pretty significant drop off from last year. I think losing to Canales is going to end up being a bigger deal than people think that it was. I could easily see the Saints not meeting expectations. I mean, that team is really old, still in like cap hell. Their offensive line is absolutely probably the worst in the league. Just absolutely terrible offensive line. The Falcons, I think, are the wild card. I think they're the team that you could say that probably improved the most. As long as Kirk Cousins can stay healthy this year, I think that could be the team that probably wins the division. But I really wouldn't shock me if the Panthers finish second. So, anyways, Hayden just got DJ Moore, Keon Coleman, and Trey Benson, and gave up Pickens, Odunze, and Blake Corum. Good or bad for me?
You got the best player, so I like it.
Are you not? I mean, we haven't got to talk a lot about some of the takes. Are you not worried at all about just kind of like? I guess I just really want to see how this is all going to play out for the Bears because with Keenan Allen still there too. Like, is there enough targets to go around to be able to make these guys like weekly fantasy relevant, or is it going to be more frustrating where it's kind of a week to week, like where 1 week this guy goes off, another week this guy goes off, where it's a little more frustrating?
I think DJ Moore is going to be the constant, and then I think it's going to be between Rome and Keenan Allen the rest of the year. But I think DJ Moore is going to be the constant maybe he doesn't have the ceiling like we saw last year when he was going, 11 for 215 and 2 and having those kind of crazy games. But I think he's gonna have a high floor and a high enough ceiling um in that offense. So
This is actually probably like one of the most like just across the board fair trades I've ever seen. Like, like DJ Moore, George Pickens are very similar in like their ADP of where they went this year. You have Coleman and Odunze, who are two rookies that are kind of like, okay, you can kind of make a case for both of them. And then you have Trey Benson and Blake Corum, who are also rookies that are also behind other players, and they need something to happen for them to really be like one of the most fair trades I think I've seen. Like, I don't know if we're gonna look back this year and be like, oh, I really miss all this, unless like George Pickens just doesn't really hit.
yeah, I think Coleman is gonna be I think he's gonna be on the field more regularly than Dunze will. But I do prefer Corum over Benson. But other than that, I like the DJ side.
Superflex league with 2 quarterback spots, 10 team. Listen, I I was staring at that. I'm like, let me see how I can piece this together. I am not even going to attempt to murder your name. Okay, so we'll just call you AH. Because there's
I
no
feel
way
like
I'm gonna. What?
Anastasios.
Well, see, that's what maybe you're better than me. I just didn't want to. If you're right, that's how you're supposed to say it. Kudos to you. But I was not about to murder this dude's name
the
or this person's
the
name. I shouldn't
pa-
have
the
assumed.
pause the
Yeah.
pause and then Superflex League. I
There was no shot.
I knew it. I knew
I
it.
yeah, I would have sold that. So this is non PPR, 2 quarterback spot, 10 team league. Mahomes, Caleb Williams, AJ Brown, Cup, DJ Moore, Waddle, Rasheed Rice, Joshua Palmer. Need 4 wide receiver spots, running backs, Henry, Javante, Ford, need 2 running backs. So the first 2 running backs, Derrick Henry and Javante Williams, I think are pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's close with Williams and Ford just because I do think the Seattle run D is going to be better this year, but I would agree. And then for the 4 wide receivers, I'm going to sit Palmer. Yeah.
Well, he needs 4, right?
Right.
AJ Brown, Cup,
Oh,
DJ
I didn't.
Waddle,
I
Ricky
was
Rice.
cut off AJ Brown. Oh boy.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna sit DJ Moore. I'm gonna go Brown, Cup, Waddle, Rasheed Rice. With Hollywood Brown out, I think that really kind of makes it a little bit easier to call with Rasheed Rice. Like I think Rasheed Rice is the top 20 wide receiver this week. I have Waddle as a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah,
Cup, I
I'm
think
with
it's
you.
yeah.
Yeah, good catch.
Jack again, 10 team PPR quarterbacks: Jalen Hurts, Purdy, Kyron, Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson, wide receivers Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy, DK, Pittman, tight ends Kincaid, Cole Kmet, kicker Jake Moody, Browns, rate my team. So I really like this team. I don't know what your bench looks like, but again, 10 team league. You don't need Brock Purdy. You don't need the second. You definitely don't need Cole Kmet. I don't like
Correct.
Cole Kmet at all really this year. Just
Me
with
either.
all of the weapons that are there. Like he's like the 4th or 5th in targets, I think, in this team. So I definitely would drop him for sure and try
And
to
it
just add
also
more
it
depth.
also sounds like Gerald Everett might be running ahead of him as well.
Yeah. So I have no interest in Cole Kmet whatsoever. You probably, you don't have to drop Brock Purdy, but I probably would
I
because
would.
Jalen Hurts. Why did you draft Jalen Hurts? Where you probably drafted him? You likely drafted him like the probably 4th round in a 10 team league, somewhere right around there. Like if you're going to invest that kind of capital, there's no reason to waste another roster spot on Brock Purdy. So like especially in a 10 team league, I think you drop both those and just add more depth to your team. Because like running back is pretty thin, especially because Kyron,
Yeah.
but then after that you have Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson. I like those guys, but like they're not like one. Jerome Ford's kind of on a borrowed time because I do think once Nick Chubb comes back, whenever that is, he's going to be involved in that offense, so that his value drops. They also have Deonta Foreman, which I saw they actually brought him back. I think when we did the waiver show, they brought him back, I think, like the next day after that. So he is back on the roster as well. So we'll see. But I would want more running back depth for sure. Like that's where you're lacking. Now I don't know what your bench looks like because I don't see where you posted that, but you need running back help for no matter what. So I would drop those players and add other running backs.
Yeah, or maybe see if you can or if there's someone that's hurting. I can't imagine anyone's going to be hurting in a 10-team league, but maybe other teams were doubling down on quarterback, and there was a team that like waited until the end. But maybe you can take Purdy and one of your bench wide receivers, or or B. Rob or Ford, and see if you can upgrade there. But yeah, I think you can drop those two and add some running back depth.
Parker, should I start Devonta Smith, Sutton, or Zay Flowers? I think this is actually really close between Smith and Flowers, but I'm still going to go Devonta Smith.
I love Devonta Smith this week. So this one's easily Smitty for me.
Yeah. Not good at fantasy. What's up? Would you rather have
Yeah.
Deontay or Dunze in redraft? It's Deontay.
Deontay.
Not good at start two. Dunze, Jason, or Dell. I'm going to go with the last two.
Sit room.
Davy, Flex Montgomery, McLaurin, or Higgins, PPR. If Jamar Chase misses, I'm going to go with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
If Jamar Chase plays, I would go Terry McLaurin. Just want to throw that out there.
I think I would still go Higgins regardless. Just because if Chase plays, I can't imagine
he's going to play a full complement of snaps.
Yes, exactly.
Noel. Start Brian Thomas Jr., Sutton, or Palmer in the second flex.
I'm going to go Sutton.
I think I am too for this week.
Yeah.
And then also, did I mess up taking Brian Thomas Jr. over? Really? No. I know people out there really like Calvin Ridley this year. Like I've said, I really like the Titans offense this year. I think Will Levis can kind of take that next step. I like what they've done here, but I love Brian Thomas Jr. Like I think there's a real path that he's the number 3 rookie wide receiver this year. Like I think he can get close to 1,000 yards and probably 5 touchdowns this year. I think he could be the Jaguars' number 1 wide receiver this year. I love the talent. I like what I've seen from him in preseason and everything. I am perfectly okay with taking that swing. I would have done the same thing. In my own home league that I was, I took Brian Thomas with not my first pick, but would have been my first pick of the draft because like I said, we can keep 6 players and I lost my first 6 picks. So in the 7th round, I took Brian Thomas Jr., which is ahead of consensus of where he's at. But in a keeper league, I just felt like he's worth it. Like I really like Brian Thomas this year. Great to see you, Mega Brick, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite college prospects for next year, even though we don't know. I mean, if you're just going to guess, who do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know, Kev. Who would it be? Trying to think of some smart ass answer to come up with, and I couldn't come up with anything quick enough.
Luther Burden.
I'm a sucker for bigger wide receivers, so as of right now, I'm going to go Tet McMillan. I don't think guys
that game he had. Oh my god,
guys his size should not be able to move the way that he does. I also really like Ashton Jeanty, the Boise State running back. Like I like him a lot.
Right now, it looks like we could have like 4 or 5 like elite running backs next year.
The running back class next year is going to be a lot better than what it was this year.
Yeah, and there's probably 4 or 5 at least right now, like really, really good wide receivers as well. Like Luther Burden, I think has the potential to be on the same length as what like Malik Neighbors was this year. Like I think he's that good. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. He's likely the number 1 wide receiver off the board, top 10 pick next year. So, anyways, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I thought that would have been easy. I just thought you would have immediately just been like, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna be him," and you didn't. So, full PPR: Joshua Palmer, Pittman, Zamir White. It's gonna be Pittman for me.
Pittman.
Derek, appreciate you guys. It's Javonte Williams, and we had to do our redo draft long story.
Oh my.
Booty Warrior, best Abby we've seen. I mean, best
Booty.
username, Booty Warrior. Love it. He's back. Everyone relax. The Booty Warrior is here for the 2024 season. Happy to see you back there, Booty Warrior.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate everything. You guys have a great night. Good luck. Who Day? Oh, you're a Bengals fan. Chiefs Bengals next week. See what happens. No, I hate going quarterback early this year, but couldn't pass up on Hurts. Oh, okay, well, that's really good value. Beg my league for a second flex. Now it's probably the weakest part of my team.
Oh, how the turntables turn.
I mean,
It's
I
all right.
wouldn't. I couldn't pass up Hurts in the fifth. Like that's up to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm okay with taking that.
Yeah, for sure.
I dropped Miami's defense for Cincy stream this week. Agree. Oh yeah, I'm doing that. I'm perfectly okay with dropping Miami. Miami. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, you still have like Bradley Chubb who's out. I mean, you still have a piece of that defense. The secondary is gonna be not good.
Yeah, that was definitely the right move.
I love that take. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. The dough. Come back anytime.
Yeah. Be here every Wednesday night going forward and every Sunday morning as well.
Priceless Pigeon over on Twitch. What do you guys think of my 16 team PPR? Dak, Caleb Williams, HN, Zeke, CD, DJ Moore, Njoku, Tank Dell.
We obviously your RB2 spot is a thing that we have to worry about here with it being Zeke, but I mean CD, DJ, Tank, and Njoku in a 16 teamer is incredibly strong.
We went with the prices. You Cowboys fan with your Dak, CD, and Zeke?
Oh yeah,
stack here. I actually don't mind the stack at all with Dak and CD Lamb. Zeke part of it, whatever. But for a 16 team league though, this actually isn't bad. Like this is actually pretty strong for a 16 team league.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have doubled down on quarterback because I'm assuming you took those pretty close together. Probably would have tried to have found another running back, but I mean obviously there's plenty of moves to be made. There's going to end up being somebody who pops off week one that no one saw. So just got to work the waiver wire and get a stronger RB2. But I like that a lot. Jay Rosa.
Would you guys drop Ty Chandler for Marshawn Lloyd? No.
I would not. I like Ty Chandler a lot this year.
I just think he has standalone value with Aaron Jones. Like we know Aaron Jones is going to have some massive workload. He's going to get like 50, 55%, where Ty Chandler will probably fill in that other gap. Where Marshawn Lloyd, I really like Marshawn Lloyd like long term, but he's still not practicing. He's probably not going to play this week. And it's going to take more. I mean, it's going to take a true injury, I think, for not. I do think there's a path for him to have touches because that's what Matt LaFleur has always done. He's always had a committee, but I just don't know what that committee is going to look like with Marshawn Lloyd. And so with Marshawn Lloyd already banged up, I would just much rather hold Ty Chandler, who's going to have a role.
Yeah.
AH with the thumbs up. I don't know if he said anything in there about if you were anywhere close to that name because I wouldn't have nailed that. I would have decided not to. Adam, in PPR, would you flex Deontay, Brian Thomas, Chuba, or Tajay Spears? I'm going to go Deontay.
Deontay.
T-Mac is a beast.
Dude's that big, should not be able to move that well.
Yeah, I watched that. I actually watched that game. It was New Mexico? I think it was against. Yeah, that was and it was that dude is unreal.
Yeah,
plays he made. They should just. He's like the main reason they won that game. I mean, he just went absolutely nuclear. Emmy, What's up, y'all? Zay Flowers and Devonta Smith, Bears or Ravens D for the season.
Man,
I'm gonna go Devonta Smith. I'm assuming that's probably for this week. I'm gonna go Devonta Smith. And then for the defenses for the season, I'm probably still gonna go with the Rams. Like I have some the Ravens. I have some question marks with the Ravens just because they've lost some pretty significant pieces that defense. But I don't know. I feel like they always figure it out every year. That defense is still really good. They still have a lot of the main core of that defense still intact. So I still would go Ravens.
Smitty and then Ravens, but I think it's gonna be close. If the Bears can like put that defense all together and they can play as a unit, I think that defense is gonna surprise a lot of people.
I mean, I think the Bears arguably have like a top 5 secondary in the league. Like their secondary is really good. And they over the second half of last season, that defense was really good. Once they made that trade, that defense became a lot, and they actually made a lot of improvements to the defense even more this offseason. So I do like the Bears as well.
Yep. Ooh, this one's easy for me. Actually, it's the Tampa Bay creamsicle. That one's easy for me.
I think the Falcons with like the black helmet, the Falcons, the old throwback Falcons one was always sick. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Chiefs fan, and you're a Steelers fan. They've never changed their jerseys ever, so it's just the same thing every single year.
I do like the Steelers, the Steelers bringing back like the block numbers and have it look more like the 90s Steelers type jerseys. I do like those ones. I also like the Bumblebees. I know a lot of people fucking hated them, but I do like the Bumblebee jerseys, the throwbacks.
Seahawks too. I never thought about that. The Seahawks throwbacks are clean as fuck.
Yeah, good call.
Dole Guitar Dynasty starting 9. QB1 Hurts RB1 threw me off with the waist. That was thrown in there. I was like, start 9 QB1s. I'm like, Jesus. Hurts RB1. All 2 JT wide receiver 1 and 2 Amon-Ra Puka tight end and Joku have start 3. Flex have Harrison, Olave, Rice, Levo, Dudze, Reed on the bench. We still have 2 first for the next year.
Hell yeah. This team is going to be a fucking bear to deal with if you can hit on those first, or turn those first into players this year to help you out. Was there a question in there?
Well, I some thoughts on the team and what to do.
Okay. I mean, that is, I mean, you like with that team specifically, I'm sitting and waiting until the season starts to play out and teams start to sell off pieces. Like that's 100% a contending team. I can't imagine there's too many teams in your league that have a better starting lineup than what you have, DG. So, I mean, like, I wish I had some like great advice to give, but with the team and the way that's set up, I'm gonna sit away unless there's a team out there that right now is not going to contend, that you could potentially go and snag a piece off of, or if one of those wide receivers that you maybe you don't love, like for me out of that group, just to pick a name, like maybe like Chris Olave, he's someone that like a lot of people seem to love. So like if you're not that person in your league, like maybe you could look to do Olave plus let's say like a second or something like that, and an upgrade somewhere. But it's not like I'm looking at this roster and saying like, oh, if only you had blank, you'd be better off. So I I think you could either wait, see what happens. Like I said, wait until some more teams start to fall out of contention, or you can go and try and be the buzzer that's picking the what's left of the carcass of a team that's sitting at the bottom of the league. But other than that, man, there's no, like I said, there's nothing that stands out to me. It's like, oh, if you go do this, you're going to be a lot better off.
I mean, that seems like a team that I just be like laying in bed at night, just staring at, like life is good. Like,
Just like falling asleep too.
yeah, like that is a beautiful, beautiful team,
Yeah.
and it's Dynasty even better. So like, you just get that team. Alex,
Yeah.
12 team
Super young
PPR
team.
dropped Dontavian Wicks for Luke McCaffrey. I'm guessing that's who that is. Last spot in the bench. I did see that. I think he was listed as a starter on their initial depth chart. That was kind of interesting. Not that it's shocking because they traded away John Dotson, and then you have Diami Brown, and then they brought in Noah Brown as well. So I think Luke McCaffrey, like he was somebody that we talked about on the waiver show, that's somebody you could definitely look at picking up. I still want to hold Dontavian Wicks. I think Dontavian
Yeah.
Wicks is actually like a really good wide receiver. Like, there's been a lot of people, like people that I trust, like Matt Harmon, who does a lot of work with the reception perception stuff that like analyzes all this stuff. And he is he is right a lot about nailing these wide receivers. And he has said that he is one of his favorite wide receivers. Everything else lines up for him. Like what people are talking about, it lines up with what he saw with him. And so, like, I would like to hold Dontavian Wicks. I want to see how, because I think there's a real path to where Wicks he just takes Romeo Dobbs' job. Like, I don't think that's crazy. And then you have Watson and then Jaden Reed are kind of your top three wide receivers there. Whereas Luke McCaffrey, I don't think like you're gonna like I don't know if you'll regret not picking him up. After
Yeah.
1 week, I think McCaffrey's worth like a bench spot for teams, but I would rather hold Wicks over McCaffrey right now. As a Chiefs fan, me getting the first pick, maybe my job easy. Got Mahomes for 5+ years. He's got he's got the dynasty team, right?
Oh yeah. The I think it was a Superflex team, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, be honest, Quentin. Let's be honest with everybody. Life is good as being a Chiefs fan. It's just like, sitting back, just relaxing. It's phenomenal. It's good. It's good to be us.
You skipped Emmy.
Oh,
Grade my
sorry. I saw
team.
the grade my team. I just went to the next one after that. Sorry. Maybe Williams, Goff, Devonta Smith, Lamb, London, Flowers, Scary Terry, running backs Kyron, James Cook, James Ford, or Jerome Ford, Spears, Rico Dowdle, Kincaid, Freiermuth, Ravens, Justin Tucker.
Seems like Kyron Cook is a popular RB combo here early on. Yeah, there's another really strong team.
Looking at this, I'm guessing he went Lamb, Kyron, London, then James Cook. I'm guessing how this played out. Then with probably Devonta Smith and then Flowers.
Yeah.
So I really like this team. Got good depth. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it. You don't need Freiermuth when you have Kincaid. And you don't need Goff when you have. I mean, I guess Goff I'm a little bit more okay with when it comes to Caleb Williams, just because I think there's to kind of see how that plays out. Like much better off with holding two quarterbacks in this situation, but you definitely don't need Freiermuth in this.
Yeah.
George, rate my team, 12 team, PPR or non-PPR, Murray, Barkley, Gibbs, Moore, Waddle, Kittle, Flex, Javante, Bench, Cousins, Brian, Robinson, Trey Benson, Corum, Jalen Wright, Flowers, A.D. Mitchell, and Brian Thomas Jr.
So we'll say it one more time. You can drop Kirk Cousins. Other than that, I like it. I think obviously the thing that sticks out to me here is wide receiver depth. do not have much of that. Obviously, I have a bunch of, or I guess Flowers. I skipped over Flowers, but um, that is probably where I will be looking when I drop Cousins, is maybe picking up another receiver. And I think you're fine. Obviously with having Barkley and Gibbs, Javante, Brian Robinson, you can look at those guys as starters. Jalen Wright, I love as a bench stash. He's one of my favorite bench players to have this year. I think if anything goes sideways for the Dolphins and with their running back room right now, he can be a legitimate league winner, even if only one of them misses time. So I'm not going to hear any complaints about that from me. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then with it, I mean, it makes the most sense to do that, especially in a non PPR leagues as well, to really have as many running backs you can get because, you know, in non PPR, your standard leagues, running backs are way more valuable. Restart 2 week 1, full PPR, James Cook, Dave Montgomery, or Mostert. James Cook for me and Dave Montgomery.
Same.
Back for another fantasy season.
Hell yeah. Good to see you, Marcus.
Yep. Love that picture too. Christmas one. Love to see it. Oh wait, we already got that one. Who should I drop? T Law for Judy, Shakir, Myers, same team. I would drop it for Shakir.
Shakir.
Reese, critique my team: Mahomes, James Cook, Dave Montgomery, Jamar Chase, DK Rice, and Joku Mostert, Samuel, Shakir, Timos, Jalen Wright, Taysom Hill. I mean, assuming that Jamar Chase doesn't hold out for very long, or whatever's going to happen here, this is a really solid team, really good wide receivers. The Chase, DK Rice, love that start there. Running backs isn't like, but at the same time, like I think James Cook is being undervalued. I think he's been undervalued all year. Really like the bench. Shakir, Curtis Samuel. Then you have Brian Thomas, who I've talked a lot about already tonight. Jalen Wright, we just talked about that. Taysom Hill, I think could be somewhat of a cheat code at tight end this year. So, as long as the platform you're playing in, has them at tight end, that you can stick them in there. But really strong team, I think, with Mahomes. Wide receivers are really good. I think it's a really, really solid team. I think like a B plus, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's one of those teams where you could easily upgrade at running back as well. Just like having some of those like team pairs, most at right, Curtis Samuel, Shakir. If one of those guys pop off week one, you can add them to Cook, Monty, whatever it is, to be able to upgrade to solidify that spot there. And also too, if Chase comes back and he's Chase, these wide receivers could carry that team as well with Chase, DK, and Rashid Rice.
Yeah. Craig Harrison, would you trade Ty Chandler and Palmer to the Aaron Jones owner for a Dunze? I have H. I just don't know if like I want to acquire a Dunze necessarily. Like this totally like not a bad trade whatsoever. And like maybe I pull the trigger. I don't know. It's just I love Roma Dunze. I think he's going to be an absolute baller. But is he going to be somebody that you're going to be like feel comfortable with playing every single week outside of an injury? Now Keenan Allen can get hurt. Keenan Allen is a much older wide receiver. Those are all range of possibility things where then a Dunze could like explode. And there's still the path that maybe he just is the number 2 wide receiver this year. But I don't know. Like I just and not that you're giving up a lot. I mean, Ty Chandler and Joshua Palmer isn't a lot to give up for Roma Dunze. So I don't know.
I agree, but I also feel like those two players 5 weeks from now could fetch more than Odunze as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's really fair.
So I would hold right now for right. I would hold for right now, Craig.
I just the follow up. I think, or not follow up, but added more. I have H. and Mostert and can pick up Jalen right off of. So I Here's the thing. I love Jalen Wright, right? But I don't love handcuffing my own running backs because you're betting against your players that they're not going to stay healthy. Plus, you're holding up all of these. You're holding all these waiver spots up, all these roster spots up for players that you're probably just going to drop because like once we get to buys, if something doesn't happen to Mostert by then, because like, here's the thing that like we could be looking back on this year that nobody's really talked about outside of the head coach that has said that this is going to be a 3-man committee. Like has said that they're going to play the hot hand. They expect to be a rotation, and this could be one of those situations where it's just like really frustrating this year. Outside until like unless an injury happens, kind of like the Broncos last year, if you remember, where it was Javonte, Samaje, and McLaughlin. Like there's a scenario where that's what this looks like this year. That he doesn't care at all about your fantasy teams, and McDaniel just runs all three of these guys, which would be the ultimate most frustrating part of all these guys if that's what happened. But I just don't want all those running backs, and I really don't love having like I would look to trade Mostert more than anything. Like hope Mostert has a really strong week one, and then you can look to flip him because I don't love having Achane and Mostert.
Yeah.
I think I skipped over the second part here for Gold Guitar. Made 2 trades this season. Takedown and a 2025 second for Reed and Joku, and a 2025 first. Higgins, Montgomery, Kittle, Ford for Brees Hall. Thoughts? A lot of people didn't like the trade that I made.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I mean, I think in that first one, I would prefer to have Dell in the second, but like I don't hate it by any means. And then that second one, like I think if you're taking, seems you have the depth, right, to be able to to compress those pieces and then to upgrade to Brees Hall. So like I don't hate that at all. Kittle's getting older. Ford is, I mean, he's a replaceable running back. Let's call it what it is. Monty, obviously he's in the split situation with Gibbs, so I don't mind that. First one, I'm a big Tank Dell guy. We talked about Jaden Reed here a little bit, but getting able to get Njoku, who's a plug and play tight end for you, and the 2025 first. I don't hate it. I slightly lean Tank Dell, but I like all those moves. Whatever got you to where you are right now, Dog Guitar, I wouldn't second guess it. I wouldn't question it.
Oh, we already got this one. Yeah, we said
Yep.
Shakir. Reese also started 2 PPR, James Cook, David Montgomery, and Mostert.
I think we had this one. We already had this one too as well, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we went with the first 2. Hope Sunday treats y'all's teams well. Good night. And Thursday
Same
as
to
well,
you.
Quinn. Okay, Thursday.
And Friday.
Is this the same team? Or is this a new one?
No, it's the same one because I missed AJ Brown on the first one. I think we're starting 4 there, right? Because we said Palmer and DJ Moore.
Oh, okay. That was a start sit, and I just want us to rate the team overall. I see. I mean, I think we already said. I mean, I really like this team. Love the depth, especially in non PPR. Braylon Allen, I think, could end up anything would happen to Brees. I mean, this team is really solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing here would be, maybe your RB2 spot. But if Javonte is back, I think he'll be fine. But that would be the only thing here. You obviously have some nice stashes here with Braylon and Jordan Mason, Rico too. Depending on what happens with him and that backfield with Dallas. Rico's another guy I picked up a ton of this off season. But I mean, that would be literally be the only thing, and we're just nitpicking at this point. It's a really strong team.
Dole redraft start 11. 12 team QB1. Love the love when they worded that way. It throws me off. QB1 Jordan Love. Then we have at RB1, RB2 we have ETN and Swift, CD and Puka, Mark Andrews, Flexer, Montgomery, Waddle, and Zach Moss. Also have Chase Brown, and Njoku, Jonathan Brooks when he comes back. What are your thoughts? Don't love DeAndre Swift, but that's just about a personal thing for me. Like I don't really love the situation for him. I don't know. I've kind of been off of him since he's I just don't think I think he's a better pass catching running back than he is, between the tackles runner, but I think it's fine as your RB2, obviously. ETN really strong. I think this is a really, really good team. And you have depth. I mean, you still have David Montgomery that you can plug in. I actually view him higher. I would, than him, at least for your bench options. And then you do have Jonathan Brooks coming back, who should be back, short order when he is back. I think the second half of the year could kind of be like a big breakout for him to where you're just starting him anyways over some of these other options. So I really like this team. I think you did really well here as well.
Yeah, 12 teams starting 11. That's a really strong starting lineup. And there has to be a team that's hurting for tight end. So I think you could easily flip Andrews or Njoku, maybe pair them with one of those Cincy running backs or whatever the case ends up being to upgrade wherever. Like you don't have there's no, like maybe the RB2 spot, but if Jonathan Brooks comes back and he's that guy, then your RB2 spot is solidified. So really, really like that team.
Wilson Cup and Xavier Worthy. And Adonai Mitchell. I don't even think you need to. I'm guessing this is in conjunction with the trade that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like I think it's. Go ahead.
I was going to say still the same for me. Hope Mostert pops off HN, whoever it is, and then flip them, and I think you can solidify your wide receiver spot that way. Because I don't think Odunze solves anything as of right now. Could that end up being the case later in the season? Sure, but I don't think that move does anything for you today.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he truly needs an injury to I think Keenan Allen or somebody has to get out of the way for Odunze this year to really pay off or really make you oh man, I can't believe I passed on that. I think there are other players that I would rather take a shot on than Odunze. And like I said, I love Rome Odunze. I think he is, like I said, going to be an absolute stud years to come. But this year, I think he's going to need something more to really pop off. What I've been waiting for all night. Finally, we get a kicker question here, Savvy. Thank you. Dicker the kicker, Koo, Bass, or Santos. This is going to be between. This is going to be Younghoe Koo for me this week. I mean, Koo's always been. I mean, I could go through the stuff, but we don't need it. Let's just say it's Younghoe Koo. I really like him.
Sure.
Yeah, I could bore you with all the stats. I have it all, a whole Google Doc full of kicker stats that I did research for. So
let's not do that.
have the viewer count just drop to nothing. Stone Phillips, I had a third overall pick: Breece Hall or CeeDee Lamb. Stone, if you're still in here, I wish I would have saw this a little bit because I could have asked you so you could put it in here. Is this like a PPR, full PPR, or halfway PPR, full PPR? Like what? Because it kind of sways my opinion here.
Assuming it's some variant of PPR, whether it's half or full, I'm going CD. So it is PPR.
Okay.
I would go CD, Hill, Breece is how I would rank those from the 3 spot.
Where do you put Bijan? For you?
Ahead of Brees, but still behind the receivers.
Because like I've started to get to this point where I feel like that CFC, Brees, and Bijan are such like a cheat code. I think in terms of just projectionable volume and what they get, that I think you can make a case that they should be rated above the wide receivers. That it should be every draft should go 1, 2, 3, those running backs. And so then I think it's really splitting hairs. Like I was kind of talked about this opposite with Brees Hall and Bijan. Their situations are so incredibly similar. Like so incredibly similar. Like I mean, so many different things. I mean, both their quarterbacks coming off Achilles injuries. You have their offensive lines are ranked from PFF. The Falcons are ranked 5. The Jets are ranked 6th heading into this year. Like it's just one after another. You have Garrett Wilson, Drake London. They were what from the same draft class. Like it's just wild how similar they are. I think the only thing that worries me about the Jets offensive line is Tyron Smith is old and getting up there in age. And so I lean Bijan Robinson as my number 2 running back. And so I would actually take Bijan as my at 3 if he was there. At a Brees Hall. That's just the way I look at it. Do you want to jump anybody? With TFA royalty,
Yeah.
Anthony Pizzone. Haven't seen you in a while there, Anthony. There, Ant. Hopefully you are doing well. I believe I saw that you tied the knot. Good for you. And
Congrats, man.
so happy to see you. And who knows? Maybe the Dolphins will not get their heads beat in the playoffs by the Chiefs this year. So yeah. Anyways, happy to see you there, Anthony. For people that don't know, Anthony, longtime podcast host for the TFA for the longest time, and then he life got in the way. So hope you're doing well there, sir.
As it does.
Gator fan, choose 2 half-point PPR: Lad McConkey, James Conner, Tyler Lockett, Wicks, and Gabe Davis.
Connor and Lad.
Every time I hear Lad McConkey, I don't know why, but have you ever seen the berries and cream, the Starburst commercial? The little guy, the little bear,
I don't think so.
little lad. Yeah, people that if they know what I'm talking about, like it is really funny. You have to watch it. Just Google or just YouTube. Go on YouTube and just type in berries and cream, and it is a hilarious. It just I don't know. It's funny. That's what I always think of when I hear his name. I don't know why. Anyways, no one cares.
Okay.
Josh, thoughts on Javonte Williams? We've already talked about it. I think he's a really strong bounce back candidate this year. I think that he has potential to be like a top 15 running back this year. Love Javonte Williams. Gator again, pick one, full PPR: Wicks, Gus Edwards, Moss, Leggett.
Zach Moss.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. For this
and
week.
then Tua over Purdy for me.
Yeah. Alex, grade my team: ABC, Cousins, Bijan Robinson, Barkley, Rice, Cup, Jacobs, Ingram. Bench is Jaden Daniels, Javonte Williams. Guessing. And then Deontay Johnson, Odunze, LMC, Carlson, kicker, Seattle defense, 12 PPR, 9th pick. So I mean, Jaden Daniels, I just want to draft him as my starter and not drafted Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. I think
For
you
running
still make
backs,
that
I mean,
move.
I'm assuming that's Bijan Robinson. The Bijan
Just-
Barkley is really nice, and Jacobs. I mean, my
and
God,
still get Rice and Cup.
Yeah.
At wide receiver as well, despite assuming Bijan Barkley and Jacobs were 3 of your first 5 picks. Yes, I would drop Cousins. I'd just throw Daniels in there. And then pick up somebody else from waivers.
Oh, we got to grade it. I'm gonna grade that a. I'm gonna give it an A.
I'm gonna go B, but it's like a B plus.
Ashton. Start one, full PPR. Second, flex. JSN, Zamir, Dobbs. I'm gonna go Zamir.
I'm gonna go JSN, but it's not Dobbs. It's close for me between JSN and Samir. I'm just glad we're not starting off like super gross, super quick. Ashton, I feel like you're always good for one where we're flipping coins and just praying for the best. So I'm glad we're off to a better start week one.
AP, what's up? It's that time of the year. Just got out of the gym, ready to lock in.
Let's go.
Glad to see you boys still going strong, sir. Going strong. Another, we're off to a really strong start. I think like the last week we've added like 400 new subs, so it's going well.
Also, if you're new to the channel, first time we're saying this, almost 2 hours in, please hit that like and that sub button.
Oh yeah, and also something else I hadn't even thought about. We actually just hit 1,000,000 views, lifetime views on the channel. So I forgot about
Yeah.
that. That should have been something we could have let off with. And Anthony, you're part of that. I mean, you were at the start. You're at the bottom, the foundation. Kind of growing. Going back like way many years ago. Like, oh man, those streams were so incredibly bad. Like so bad. Like just like, and a lot of it was just me. Like I don't know. This was like 4 years ago or some 5 years ago when like we would stream to like literally one person, and it's probably like one of our parents that are watching it. Like it was really bad. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. It was so bad. Anyways, yeah, that was rough. Alex, how about running backs first 3 rounds? Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
14 team, half point PPR. Josh Allen, Bryce Young, London, Godwin, Kirk, Dobbs, Thielen, Douglas, CMC, Jones, Chubb, Corum, Kincaid, Hawkinson. Thoughts? So, in like, once you get higher, like 14, 60 team leagues, I guess it probably makes a little more sense to maybe take like a second tight end or a second quarterback just because you're not going to have as many options in a league like that. So, I don't necessarily hate it. And you waited all the way to get Bryce Young. It's not like you went and reached out another one
Yeah.
early.
I mean, I think for a 14 team, that's a strong squad. Hopefully, you can put Hawkinson on IR and just pick anything up. Obviously, waivers are going to be a little bit different. And hey, excuse me.
Yeah, like I would mind, like probably like I don't love like Adam Thielen because I'm not like I don't think he brings anything to the table. I know it's a 14 team league, but like I would rather go out and like see if like Jermaine Burton, who's probably sitting out there, like players with just higher ceilings that I think what Adam Thielen could provide.
Yeah.
Miss you guys. I'm doing a Miami Dolphins pod now, 2 episodes in, so it's new. What is it? What I need to go listen. I want to check this out. I want to check your Miami Dolphins takes out. So drop it in the chat there, Anthony. 10 team, half point PPR, 2 flex, Goff, Tua, Harrison Cup, Ayuk, Pickens, Dobbs, JSN, Paul, Jones, Javante, Gus, Pitts. Thoughts? Goff versus LA or Tua versus Jacksonville? I'm gonna go Goff.
Ooh. Man.
I mean, this is Goff at home. Like, that is when Goff is,
But it's also Tua versus a bad defense, and that's basically the equivalent of Goff.
So I don't know. Like, I think Jacksonville's defense might be a little bit better than I think people are going to give it credit for. Ryan Nielsen's their offensive or their defensive coordinator now. I don't know. I just think this. I think this team might be their defense might be a little bit better. Not that I'm expecting them to be able to like contain the Dolphins or anything like that, but I just really like this spot for Goff. I think Goff's is like a real easy top 10 quarterback. Sweet.
I lean to it by a smidge, but it's really close.
I'm all in on the Gus Buzz. Maybe got a feeling they're going to run a ton in LA. Yeah.
Not wrong.
AP, Purdy, Kyron, K9, Cook, Hubbard, just Jefferson, London, Ridley, Wicks, Lockett, Kittle, and Goddard on waivers. There's Demario Douglas, Ty Chandler, and McLaughlin. Rate team. Drop anyone for them.
I'd probably drop Lockett or Goddard for Ty Chandler.
Yeah, probably Goddard because you're fine with Kittle. That's just what I hate. That's why I don't like try especially because Goddard, you probably had to take him in the 12th round, probably 11th round. Somewhere he's going there, and I just would have rather have just not use it when you have Kittle. So yeah,
and we also need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex for AP as well. While we have this up,
so running backs, Kyron K9 for sure. Jefferson, London. How many wide receivers? 2?
Yeah, 2, 2, and 1.
So then it comes down to James Cook and Calvin Ridley. I'm going to go with James Cook on the flex.
Yep.
DG, PPR league. Should I flex Dobbs or Javante?
Javante.
Tone Bear, start 1 at flex, full PPR. Rice, Waddle, Olave, Dell. Rice, Waddle, and Dell are on the bench, and I have Olave at flex currently. My goodness. Could you imagine having all these?
No. Tone, who are you starting at wide receiver that all these are on the bench?
Yeah, because I'm going to go. I'm still going to stay with Waddle. Or actually, I would. No, I would stay with Olave. Sorry.
I would go Waddle over Olave.
I would go Olave.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I would stick with Olave with what you have. My goodness, that is a collection. So bad, but so good. We had a blast. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I missed some of those days. It was a good time. I don't know what we got going on here. 18 PPR. Oops. 1 sec. That's phenomenal. How do you feel about Purdy this week? Should I drop or should I pick up A-Rod, Baker, Kirk for the week? I think you hold Purdy. With the rest of your team that you have, there's nobody on there that I want to pick up just for a second quarterback. I don't necessarily love any of the options you have either, like Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. None of them are in necessarily fantastic spots. So I'm just going to hold Brock Purdy. I think that he, can get it done at least. So we'll see there. But so I would just hold, Purdy. Michael, I drafted Mike Evans over Cooper Kupp in a PPR league. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I'm going to regret it. Yeah, I talked about it. I think there's a chance here that Liam Cohen, who's the ops coordinator for the Bucks, ends up being kind of does things a little bit differently this year with the way this kind of target distribution is. Cooper Kupp, by all accounts, is fully healthy this year and where he wasn't last year heading into the season. And, there's been talk about, that the offense still runs through Cooper Kupp. And so I think he'll be fine with Mike Evans. I still think he's the number 1 wide receiver on this team. I just have my concerns with how this offense looks overall. So, if you have any Dolphins fans in here, Finn's forecast. I'm gonna check it out. Anthony. I have to check that out for sure. And if you guys haven't, if you're Dolphins fans, Finn's forecast, check it out. I'm sure it's on all platforms. DG8, thoughts on this team? 12-team PPR, flex, Kyler, Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Kyron, Mixon, Mark Andrews, Connor, JSN. Love the quarterback. I think Kyler Murray is so underrated this year. I think he could easily be a top 5 quarterback. This is a player that has finished as a top 12 quarterback, I believe, every year he's been in the league so far. And since 2019, he has scored the 5th most fantasy points among all quarterbacks during that span. So I think he is back to, and this is probably the best offense he's had too. I mean, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, James Conner, Trey Benson. Like, this is one of the best offenses he's had surrounding him. So love that. And then your wide receivers, Amon-Ra, I think he has the potential to be the number one wide receiver this year. DJ Moore, love that. Kyron Mixon, Mark Andrews, James Conner, JSN. Like, I don't know what your bench necessarily looks like, but it's a really strong team. I actually really like JSN as well this year. I think he is a big bounce back. I think he takes over as the number 2 wide receiver for this team now. So I really like that. So, you think I should drop Cousins? I stacked it with Bijan, wire options, Baker, uh, Levis, Nix, Smith, Wilson, Minshew.
Yeah, Alex, unless this is a Superflex league, you don't necessarily need to carry 2.
Yeah, and I know to
Quarterbacks.
start the year, a lot of people always say like, "Oh, everybody in my league has a lot of quarterbacks." Well, those are the guys who are going to start getting dropped once bye weeks come. That's what those are going to be the first players
Injuries.
that people start to drop, and injuries, stuff like that. So like you're going to start to get more and more quarterbacks that are going to be sitting out there. Like I don't think you don't need 2 quarterbacks because you're never going to play him over your starter ever outside of an injury. So. Here's what Cody was asking for. One of my dynasty leagues, I love full PPR, tight end premium. Bowers, Addison, Gabe Davis, or Dortch.
We need to sit one.
I'm gonna sit Greg Dortch, which kills me. I love Greg Dortch.
I know, me too. I have him stashed on so many dynasty leagues, and I'm like, man, I just let him be relevant for the majority of the year. I want it, I need it. Yeah, I mean, pay attention to Bowers. Seems like he's still dealing with some stuff with his ankle and his foot after the procedure he had this offseason. But it is assuming he's healthy. Sitting Dortch, although I want to sit Davis and start Dortch, but
Ken, thoughts on my fantasy team? QB Mahomes. We have Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, AJ Brown, Cup. Then you have Flex Waddle, Keenan Allen, McBride, bench Ford, Chubb, Xavier Worthy, and Wicks. This is like a strong B plus team, maybe even A minus. I mean, to be able to have Mahomes, you have Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones. I mean, I think there's some concern with that second running back spot and Keenan Allen, just age wise and how this was going to work out. You also have Chubb, but then you should be able to put him on IR and add somebody else. Looks like you have short benches too, but overall it's still a really strong team. I mean, Bride obviously is a top 3-4 tight end. Mahomes is a top 3 quarterback. You also have a top 4 or 5 running back here. Another top 6-7 wide receiver. Like this is a really strong group. Some depth concerns a little bit, but I think you should be able to make up for it. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for the advice. Anything y'all looking forward to seeing in fantasy this year?
Good question.
The thing I'm most looking forward to is just a lot of the ambiguous backfield type situation. We wanted to see how they were going to play out. Like the Bengals is definitely one of them. The Broncos, the Dolphins, like just some of these situations where they're kind of up in the air of how we thought they were actually going to play out. That's kind of what I know it's kind of a lame, I guess, answer, but that's kind of what I'm the most excited to see. This is kind of see how some of these things play out this year.
Yeah, I think the ones that stand out most for me, the Rams and the Dolphins backfield, but then also what ends up happening with the Packers receiving group. Just does anyone step up? Is there okay, Dobbs is the guy we can count on consistently, or whoever it ends up being, or is it no one? Is it just a week to week thing? So that's probably where I'm at. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think for me that's kind of what I'm most. And honestly, I'm just obviously looking forward to football being back. I mean, I do feel like this year flew by a little bit faster than most years, but yeah.
Yeah, and then for the rookie quarterbacks too, Williams, Daniels. When does Drake May start? How does he look?
Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this. Yeah. But again, I'm just happy football's back. So really enjoyed the college football slate this past weekend. Watched quite a few of the games, and then we haven't even got into the good stuff, like when you get conference play going and everything else. Like there's still a lot of like Missouri playing Murray State. Like they're favored by 40 something. Like this week they're playing Buffalo. Like once we start getting more of the meat and potato stuff. Anyway, been on a team with Neighbors and Nico Collins. Should I start Neighbors knowing he should get targets, or Nico and hope he shines?
I would lean Nico week 1.
I would too. I love Malik Neighbors. Like I remember putting out like a video on him like right before training camp started. He was one of my like league winning type upside because at the time he was going later, and then all of a sudden like all the training camp buzz started and everybody was hyping him up. And at the time when I made that video, people were like, "Oh, there's no way," and now people started to get on board. But I love Malik Neighbors this year. So let me see. Actually, yeah, I think I would go Nico. It's really close, but it's a great matchup because Indianapolis secondary is dreadful. Is there any shot you can get both? You can play both of them. Like, can you flex one of these guys? Like, what does the rest of your team look like? I guess there, Ben. If you could let us know. Oh, this is the 18-man PPR. Holy. Kyler Levis, Gibbs, Mostert, Brooks, Charbonnet, London, Curtis Samuel, Wandale, Kincaid, Hunter Henry. Guy has Ayuk wants Kyler, Gibbs, Mostert. Daniel Jones is on waiver. He has Bucky, Rico, Jacoby, K9, Pitts.
So it's Kyler, Gibbs, or Mostert.
Oh, I would do it for, I don't know. That's tough. But this being an 18-man league, like there's not like, on the surface, I'd be like, oh yeah, I would trade Mostert for Ayuk. But well, I don't know. I mean, if you can weather the storm until Brooks comes back, then that's like a really, because like that's the problem. He has London, and then Curtis Samuels is like what looks to be like his next best wide receiver.
Yeah.
Do you maybe ask for like, see if you could, trying to see if like he had like another piece that you could throw in as more of like to get like more depth at running back.
Yeah, to do that, you're probably gonna have to add a receiver. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna have to be like a wide receiver running back for wide receiver running back coming back. So, man, because the issue is Charbonnet might not play this week. Brooks obviously isn't playing for at least until week 5, and then even then, it's probably going to be a ramp up period.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, you immediately want to say yes, absolutely, do something with Mostert, but that is a tough sell.
Yeah, because you become like instantly really thin at running back if you do that.
And if you're starting with Mostert, I mean, Mostert and Curtis Samuel, like maybe it gets you Ayuk, but it's not getting you Ayuk plus the depth piece. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could try. I mean, you could always counter and say, and just ask for like Bucky Irving. I mean, because it's not like right now is the best time to trade for like Bucky Irving or Rico Dowdle, right? Especially like Bucky Irving, because like Bucky Irving has really done nothing. So like his value's not there. So maybe like okay, yeah, I'll do it for Mostert, but just throw in Bucky Irving, and see if you can get someone to do it.
Yeah.
Start one full PPR. Shakir, Jacoby Myers, Wandell, or Downs. This is gonna be Shakir for me.
Yep.
My team is full PPR, 10 teams. CMC, Kyron, Puka, London, Laporta, Olave, Bitch, Waddle, Rice, Dell, Zamir White, Jonathan Brooks,
Goodness
Warren.
gracious.
It's a 10
I
team
mean,
league.
yeah, I was gonna say, even for a 10 team, that is.
Especially because even a 10 team, well, yeah, I guess that makes a little more sense because Puka, especially, was dealing with a little bit of an injury, so I could see him falling a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this is excellent work there, Tone Bear.
Good for you, Town. Good for you.
Speaking of the Bears, Chargers or Bears defense? Bears defense for me.
I'm gonna go Chargers week 1.
Yeah. Not much of help there, Sergio, but I just lean towards the Bears. I don't know. Chargers. I get it's the Raiders matchup. Again, this game just feels kind of gross. Like, it really low scoring. Like, it wouldn't surprise if the final score of that game was like 13-10. Like, I don't know.
That's what I was just gonna say.
So do you think the Chargers are safer because you're not really worried about them really losing you points, but I don't know if they have a really high ceiling to like gain one. Should I trade CMC Olave for Bijan / Garrett Wilson? Nervous about CMC. I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I
Like
much
I said, like, I
prefer.
think it's really close between CMC and Bijan this year, in my opinion. And so then I think you get the upgrade with Garrett Wilson over Olave.
Yep.
Gotta get some sleep. Talk. You should get some sleep there, Anthony. Sergio, thoughts on my team: Lamar, Olave, McLaurin, Bijan, ETN, Worthy, kickers, Elliott, Bears. Now we don't see the rest of his team. I mean, obviously you went running back heavy early, but still Olave and McLaurin as wide receiver, 2. I'm perfectly okay with that as long as they hit. Yeah, I think this is a really solid team. I mean, B plus, I think for sure. Maybe with the ability to probably go, especially if Worthy hits. I don't know what
That's
your
gonna be the
bench.
key.
Yeah, I think this team could be really good. Like, this is a really solid team. Jason, week 1, Goff or Purdy? I'm gonna go Jared Goff. Like I said, I have Jared Goff as a top 10
Goff here for me.
quarterback this week. The Bid podcast starts sit Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams. 10 team full point PPR or full PPR, 6-point passing touchdowns. So that is definitely something to keep in mind when it comes to
Go an AR.
I agree. I don't know why I didn't think about that so long. Yeah, especially week 1, Anthony Richardson. Let's see. Nico for Kamara and Devontae. PPR. Or Brad.
Yeah. Probably would. And Kamara's not a guy that I'm like super interested in this year, but I feel like that's a decent add back. Like, I don't think Nico. I think at the end of the year, Nico and Devonta are going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Kamara too, like, you look at him, and the thing with him though is, like, I feel like, I mean, you still have Derek Carr there, and like his first option is always check down. Like, even though that I don't think he's going to be great in the running department, I still think that he probably sees 60 receptions this year, and so like that is enticing. And then Devonta Smith, I still think could be like a low end wide receiver too. It just depends on what your thoughts are on like Nico Collins' ceiling. Like, I still think I think he can be the number 1 wide receiver, but whatever way you slice it, they're gonna have to get up in like top 5 in passer rate this year, I think, to be able to support all 3 of these guys plus Schultz. And so like it is a little bit tougher. So I do think that like you could probably pull off this trade. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Simp. 12-man full PPR, Richardson, Saquon, Mostert, AJ, London, Flex Devontae Adams and Diggs, Kincaid, and then on the bench we have Pickens, A.D. Mitchell, BTJ, Caleb Williams, Benson, Brooks on IR. Thoughts? I would look, in this case, you're not dropping Williams or Richardson, but there has to be a team in a 12-man PPR that could use the upgrade at quarterback. There has to be a team that waited and is sitting with a Stafford or a Kirk Cousins or somebody like that you could try and flip one of those two. I wouldn't want to roster both. I try and flip one. Kind of counting on Brooks here coming back from IR to kind of boost you. I mean, Mostert is fine for right now. Really like him this week.
I think I agree with you. I think I would wait until after this week, or I would, because I think it's going to be tougher week 1 or before week 1, because I think most people probably feel pretty
right.
good about like you want like Caleb Williams to go out and have like a big game this week and put up like 18, 20 fantasy points, and then it becomes a lot easier to flip because there's going to be, it happens every year. People start to flip out after week 1. Oh my goodness, this guy's following my team. This guy underperformed. This team underperformed. Whatever. Typically takes a little bit of time, especially for offense, to kind of catch up, and especially now in a world where so many teams do not participate in preseason, don't play. All they've done is practice, so sometimes it takes a little bit longer for offenses to kind of get going. But if one of these guys takes off like early, like Caleb Williams comes out, has a really strong week, you could easily probably target somebody that and go after somebody and start sending some trade offers out with Caleb Williams. Because I agree, you don't need two in a single quarterback. We've said that so much, but you don't want to drop Caleb Williams either. Especially when you only have, looks like 5 bench spots. You said you have Brooks on the IR. So if you only have 5 bench spots, like those bench spots are so valuable. And you don't really have anybody that you can just kind of, I guess A.D. Mitchell is probably like the weakest link of this bench that you could probably look to flip. But like when bye weeks start getting going, like you're going to want, to be able to make a move. But I know you're like, oh, well, that's why I have Caleb Williams, but that's only for that 1 week for the most part. Yeah. And I want a little more roster flexibility with only 5 bench spots. So that's about the only it. But other than that, really solid team.
Sam, 10-man PPR. Allen, Nico, Rice, Brees, Pacheco, Ferguson, Rashad. Thoughts on the following trades? 1, Nico and Pacheco for Amon-Ra and Walker, or 2, Allen and Nico for Dak and Chase.
I would take that first one, and not even and that's tough for me because I am a big Isaiah Pacheco guy this year. Like I have Isaiah Pacheco as like a top 6 running back this year going into the year. I will say the Samaje Perine more kind of and seeing what people have said around here, like around the Chiefs and stuff like that, that Samaje Perine is probably going to have a little bit bigger role, like a Jerick McKinnon type role, which hurts a little bit. I don't think it's going to be as significant or anything like that, but it definitely plays a factor into this. But at least for week 1, I don't think P. Ryan's going to be all that involved because he just doesn't really know the offense. He just got here. So it's probably going to be a slow ramp up, but I would make that move. I mean, the upgrade, I mean, like I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 4 wide receiver. So that is still a big upgrade over Nico. And then Kenneth Walker, I don't think is, like I've said, I love Kenneth Walker this year. And I like as well. And so I don't think there's really that big of a gap between the two of those. So I think that is a massive upgrade. I think for me, I would definitely take that first one.
Yeah, I would as well. And this is something we haven't gotten to talk about yet because of the signing, but it's something I just need to get off my chest. Since when do we give a fuck about Samaje Perine as a pass catcher? That's what I really don't like. I get it. The past 2 years, I just looked almost 90 catches over the past 2 seasons. You could be like, hey, give me some of the best pass catching running backs in the league. Samaje Perine isn't making the fucking list for the majority of people. This is something I just really don't understand with the sky falling with Pacheco all of a sudden. I don't get it. Just want to say that. Having said that, I would still do that first trade. That's just something I've needed to get off my chest. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Ben, Daniels, Alvin, Kyron, Nico, JJ, Ferguson, Achan, Atlanta defense, Aubrey, Allen, Najee, Mostert, Neighbors, Rams, Dev. Oh, Rams D, maybe. Mike Williams, Kate Williams. What are we? Was there something I missed?
I don't know if I've ever
Was
seen a
this-
9-man league. Interesting.
Oh, on the team with Neighbors and okay. Maybe there's just because we were asking, can we start both? Okay. Yeah, with JJ. Something's gonna be the odd man out. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All in one show, Waddle or Flowers is going to be Waddle for both of us. Tamian, appreciate you.
Off
Come
for
back.
groceries. Fun fact. I actually love going to the store. I don't know why. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Just go to the grocery store. Like, I don't know why. It always has been. Like, I just love going to the store. It's really weird. No man probably is in that same boat as me, but I don't know. I think it's just because I go by myself. It's like my own little free time. Go there, pick out some snacks if I want or whatever I want. I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought that up.
Volunteering to go to the grocery store, especially whenever we had a newborn. It's like, babe, it's all right. I got it. I'll go to the grocery store.
You stay at home. Just relax. Kick your feet up,
No, but I also fun fact recently. So like for a while, my wife was she was taking care of the dinners, and I would clean. Like that was the little relationship we had worked out. Recently switched, so I am now taking care of dinners. I don't mind it. I like trying to find something new to make every week.
like a little Gordon Ramsay action.
I'm trying. I made my own barbecue sauce the other week. Some salmon. Did a chuck roast with it was like a chipotle like pulled like shredded beef. Pretty good. Anyway,
This sounds really good.
yeah, really good. And Estachios, Superflex 2QB 10-man non-PPR. Pick 2 QBs for week 1. I'm going to
It's gonna be Mahomes and Caleb for me.
yeah, but I do really like Geno this week. But I'm going to stick with Yeah, I'm going to stick with Caleb. Sticking with Caleb. Really close. Bill Hamby, 12-team half PPR, A-Rich, Saquon, Gibbs, Collins, Higgins, Laporta, Ricedale, JSN, Corum, Chase Brown, Dowdle, McLaughlin. Do I need to roster a backup QB? You do not. Wouldn't worry about it.
No, not at all.
And assuming you need 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, we'll just help you out here. Ooh.
So we're starting Saquon, Gibbs. You're gonna start Collins and Rice and Higgins.
Yeah. I don't know why it made me laugh. Patty Fryer, Taysom Hill, week 1. I'm going Taysom Hill. I think Arthur Smith is going to do Arthur Smith shit, and I kind of want to see how it works for week 1.
I'm gonna go Fryermuth, but it's close.
Sorry, we were not any help to you there. Jelly, Nick L, 10-man PPR, 1 flex, 2 wide receivers. But Kyler CMC, Gibbs, Marv, Flowers, London, Laporta, benches, Higgins, McLaurin, Moss, Dowdle, Reed, Singletary. What 3 wide receivers? I'm going to go Higgins over Flowers.
Starting London and Marv. Yeah. Assuming Jamar Chase doesn't play, yeah, I'll go Higgins. Yeah.
Cruz, Achan, or Rice at the flex? Man.
I would be torn too, Cruz. That is a tough decision.
Cruz, who are you starting at running back? Answer us that, and then we'll. I'm sorry. As soon as I said it, William, I was like, maybe he doesn't like Bill. Sorry. Literally, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, apologies. Won't happen again. Yikes. Yikes. Not yikes in a bad way, but yikes to have to make this decision each and every week. Man.
I'd probably go Achan. Like I know that Hollywood Brown's out, but it's still the Chiefs. They still spread the ball around a lot. Like I think it's possible that like Rice has like a 6 for 70, no scores, like not, I probably with the matchup against the Jags, I probably go Achan just for the pure upside that I think he provides. Like that's a really tough decision. I mean, Barkley and Kyron are already tough enough. I mean, that's 3 really good running backs, and then the fact, I mean, I guess that who are you starting at wide receiver as well?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
But I probably lean towards Achan. But let's know who you're starting at wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
The OGs are back. The infamous Mel. Happy to have you back.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you, Mel. Would you debate Rice over Nico?
I was kind of thinking about it too. Like I was like, maybe right, Rasheed Rice over Nico. I probably still lean Nico in this spot as well, but I think that's more of an argument to be made between those two.
Yeah.
The discount though that people got on Rice because of the offseason stuff that people thought he was going to get suspended for so long is really nice.
And it didn't really change all that much. I mean, like maybe he like bumped up around, but unless people were going, way overboard, not overboard, but really reaching on him, he it's just, what I mean, it's not like he bumped up to like where he probably should have been going throughout the offseason.
If there was no suspension looming, I think he probably would have been like a third, early fourth round pick. I think is where he probably would have went.
Yeah. Generations. Good to see all these lovely faces coming back. I don't think you need to. I think you're good.
And I think in fantasy football, like I don't like Dak is probably like one of the most like undervalued quarterbacks. Like he's always like ranked by everybody like QB 10 to 12 and like draft rankings. And he's scored the 4th most fantasy points since 2019. Like in that same stat that I found with Kyler, like he has scored the 4th most since 2019, and he's just never valued that way.
Yep. 101 Dozer. 9th pick, 10 team, half PPR. We have Love, JJ, DJ, Neighbors, Barkley, Walker, Aaron Jones, Ingram, Dallas, Koo, Deontay Ford, Sorry, thinking that was like a car dealership. Come down, Deontay Ford. Get yourself a Mustang. Watson, Shakir, Benson, Dobbins. Forecast is 1-13. That's crazy. Don't agree with that at all. I like this team a lot. You're stacked at wide receiver. Barkley and Walker really strong top two running backs there. Got some high upside guys on your bench. I think 1-13 is wild, and it's also 3 games shorter than what it should be. So I would not trust anything that whatever that forecast is spitting out at you. Corona, 10-man PPR 2 flex. Amon Ra gives Puka, Hurts, Devonta Smith, Rice, Cooper, Najee, Javante, Ingram, Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence. Start Rice or Cooper. I'm going Rashee Rice over Cooper.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muted.
Dak scored 17 or more fantasy points last year in 12 of the 19 games that he played in all year. Okay. Including the playoffs. Like, to say that he sucked last year, like he started off a little bit slow, even though I wouldn't necessarily call it slow. But I mean, he still was the QB4 last year in fantasy points per game last season. Like 36 passing touchdowns, 4,500 touchdowns, or 4,500 passing yards. Saying that he sucks is not even in the same
Factually
realm
incorrect.
of close. And saying that he only scores all of his points in 5 games and he scores 10 points of the rest is also just completely inaccurate.
Kamara, Zay, Devonta for Cup Pacheco.
I mean, assuming we only need one, I would go Pacheco.
No, I think it's trade.
Oh, that's what the 4 means. Yeah, good call. Zay, Devontae for Cup Pacheco. I probably would stay with the Zay Flowers, Devonta Smith side.
Yeah, that's where I lean as well. But it's close. It's close. If you ask me that again tomorrow, I might give you a different answer. For me with Rico, I want to see him get the majority of the passing work. I want to see him get the majority of the work between the 20s. And then what I'm really looking to see is, does Zeke just get all of the red zone, inside the 10 work, or is that split as well? But I think he's going to be a 60-40, 65-35 type of back.
I don't even know. Yeah, I think it could be something like we saw. Like my kind of thought was it's like it was when Tony Pollard was there. The with Zeke. I think it could be like a 55-45 type split with Zeke. I mean, I'm not worried about Dalvin Cook at all. He's like a name. People, whenever he signed, everyone, or I shouldn't say everyone, but there were people that were like excited about that and wanted to run out and grab Dalvin Cook. Like Dalvin Cook is cooked.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Ducky over on Twitch, Zay Flowers or Palmer. That's going to be Zay for both of us, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Crip rocking with us. Good to see Crip in here. Need a flexible PPR, DK or Connor. I'm going to go DK here. I would go DK, and then I would put in Connor over Kamara.
I would still leave Kamara. Also, I'll take a quarterback to score 20 plus a game. I just said, listen, there, Tresner, he averaged 20 fantasy points a game last year. He averaged 20.4 fantasy points per game last year. He's also been a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football. 6 of his 8 years he's been in the league. So just gonna throw that out there too. Anyways, that's all I got to say about
I feel like that maybe that's Robbie coming in here just so we say nice things about the Cowboys. I think we found Robbie's burner. For my other league, RB's to start Kamara, Connor, or Mixon. Mixon, Connor, Kamara is how I have them ranked this week.
Yeah, I have Mixon one spot ahead of Kamara.
Yeah, that one. I mean, anytime this season, I think you know the answer to that. Week 1, I think it all just depends on what happens within the next couple of days. I think that'll tell us. I think it also depends on your draft strategy as well. You know, if you went Chase in the first round, then you went, running back, or you threw in a tight end in there, and you might not have a choice. McBride or Fergie? McBride.
McBride for sure. Happy to see you back there, D-Bro.
Yes. Zeke, if I have Henry and Brees in a full PPR league, would you start DJ Moore over Kenneth Walker? Have Metcalf Marv at wide receiver.
Not this week. I'm still starting Kenneth Walker.
I would go Walker over Henry and then DJ Moore.
I still probably play Derrick Henry. The Chiefs' run defense could be a thing to be
worried
this year.
Hey, as long as those interceptions come during the playoffs, Prez, don't care. Another one here from our guy Debro, Higgins, Brian Thomas Jr., or Deontay PPR flex. Higgins. It would be Higgins, Deontay, and then Brian Thomas in that order. Boom. There it is, Kev. 2.5 hours, week 1, like we never left.
Yeah. Week 1, almost here. We get a little more football this week because we get the Friday night game with the Eagles and Packers and Brazil. Yeah. So should be good. This weekend I think there's a lot of really good games. Yeah, the Thursday game. Chiefs Ravens could be one of the better games of the year as well. Rematch of the playoffs last year. So, but as we always say, as we've said, I think we said on one of the videos this week too, don't overreact to week 1. It's like I've said, like sometimes offenses start off a little slow. It's because of loss of preseason, loss of all that. Don't overreact to week 1, but also try to take advantage of people that are freaking out in your leagues. Send out some trades if some players didn't play very well in week 1. See if you can take advantage of people when people think that those players, because that's the best time to take advantage. But yeah, for your own teams, don't overreact to week 1 and whatever happens. It's 1 week.
All in one, feelings on Saints D picked up on waivers. I think they're a fine streaming option this week. Probably good. I don't know who they have week 2, but they're a team that you can probably look to stream on on a matchup by matchup basis. But yeah, I think they're fine for week 1. Zeke, how do you think Keenan Allen's going to do this year? I have no idea. I really don't. I've been the Keenan Allen stan here for the past few years. Love Keenan Allen. I have no idea what to expect. there's such a range of possibilities here. Wouldn't surprise me if Ramadunzi is starting over Keenan Allen by the end of the season. Wouldn't surprise me if Keenan Allen, you know what I mean, is the number 2 for the majority of the year. I have no idea what to expect. Wish I could give you a better answer, but that's how I feel. Thoughts on neighbor Danny Dimes passing to him? It's not going to be pretty, but I think at the end of each game, you're going to be pleasantly, you're going to be happy with neighbors. I wouldn't watch the games if I had neighbors. That's how I feel about it. Huge target share, yes. Thoughts on Marv this year? Similar to the neighbors, but he's not getting the buzz for whatever reason. But I think Marv and neighbors are going to be in a similar boat. Really like Marvin Harrison this year.
I've seen a few people say that they think that Marvin Harrison's maybe not very good. I think that's just like wildly outlandish to say, but um, just because like he didn't do any of the testing, the athletic testing, and all that stuff, like Malik Neighbors did, and whatever. Like he hasn't really gotten any like buzz. There hasn't been any like, oh my god, Marvin Harrison looks amazing. Um, but still, he's gonna be the number one target. I think his body of work speaks for themselves. Uh, I still think that these two wide receivers, Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, are going to be phenomenal wide receivers. And obviously, I think you just give the edge when you have one playing with Kyler Murray and the other one playing with Daniel Jones. Though I think Daniel Jones can at least support. Like we've never seen Daniel Jones with any weapons at all. Not saying that I think Daniel Jones is good by any means, but like we also have never seen him with any talent at all. Like there's quarterbacks like that are very good quarterbacks that are more just average run of the mill. That once you surround them with some talent that they can actually produce, maybe Daniel Jones is that guy. And Brian Dable is calling plays this year. I mean, he does a good job there, but Marvin Harrison still should be the number one between the two of them, just because of the offense that he resides in, the quarterback that he plays.
Yeah, I do prefer Seattle over the Saints. And then you can hold on for week 2, like Trez said. What do you think of Keon Coleman? I'm a Keon Coleman fan. I like him. I know a lot of people are going to make a big deal about the fact that he is not good at separating, but it doesn't matter whenever you have someone who doesn't give a fuck and will just throw it up like Josh Allen is. So I think it's going to be a bit of a headache week to week, but I'm a fan. Rashid Rice or Marvin Harrison? I'm going to go Rice, but it's close.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Connor Achan, I'm going Achan.
Yep.
How many fantasy leagues is too many? Whenever you get to the point where you're not, maybe you're forgetting about setting a lineup or, not getting the waivers or not responding to trades. That's how I would answer that question.
Yeah, I can only play in so many like leagues, mainly because I play so much DFS, and so like it takes up so much of my like bandwidth of week to week stuff like I'm focused on. So like I don't like to be in like a ton of leagues because I want to be able to focus on like how my roster construction, building lineups, stuff like that for DFS is. So I try to constrict to a certain number of like redraft, dynasty, whatever leagues. But I will say, I'm happy to report that I am in my first do the TFA dynasty league. And now my home league is wanting to do a dynasty league, and they're talking about doing a startup.
That's why you never tell the wife how many you're in. Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. Yeah, I did a good job with leaving some fantasy leagues because that's the point I was getting to. Where like, if there was a dynasty, for example, that I knew I wasn't competing in, like I might not throw in waivers or I'd have trade offers expire. So I started dropping a couple, and for the past 2 years, I've been in a good spot. I joined a bunch this offseason that I probably shouldn't have, but I couldn't help myself. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people. I think everyone's different. What they want to play in, like sports mind, DJ, and habits. There you go. That's what it need to be.
Yeah.
Card collecting and FFB, all are good. Yeah. I mean, I also play fantasy baseball, which every year I'm always like, why do I do this? But it's like a fun like passes the time until football starts, and then like once football's kind of here, I kind of just don't really care about it after that. But
Yeah, I put in some. I don't know if any of them hit, but I did put in some home run bets. They'll probably be the last ones that I put in for for the rest of the year.
that is home run. But yeah, the home runs are wild.
Hurts in the fifth, considered grand theft. That's a nice spot to get him. I would really like Hurts in the fifth.
Oh yeah,
Ingram or Conklin. That is going to be Ingram for me for sure.
yeah.
Oops. Tempted to take Zay Devonta Kamara for Capacheco. Should I do it? That to me comes down to if you need the depth or not. If you need the depth, I don't mind it. But also, if you're consolidating pieces, I don't mind it either. I'm sorry, not giving you like a strong answer one way or another, Brad. But I like if hey man, if that's what you want to do, yeah, Keon at flex too. I think that I mean obviously that move would help you out then, right? Because now Keon goes to your bench, and you're probably sitting in a better spot. So
I mean, with it being a PPR, I mean, Kamara. I mean, I think Kamara last season, and like he was a legitimate league winner last year. Like he was on like
started off
15%
hot.
of teams of leagues. Yeah, I mean, the games where he was seeing like what was it like 15 targets or whatever it was, just massive checkdowns from Derek Carr just keeps him afloat. His like efficiency numbers were bad, and he's still going to lose touchdown opportunities to Taysom Hill and and Jamal Williams. So those things are definitely going to happen. But you just have to hope he just gets a ton of targets.
Half point PPR start one in the flex here for Steve, Amari Cooper, Ford, or White. I'm going Cooper.
Yeah.
Any chance DJ Moore top 10 this year? I mean, I think there's a chance, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think he's gonna slide back to like 14-ish.
Yeah, it would you would need an injury to Keenan Allen or something like that, like early in the year. I think if that happens, then yeah, I think it's possible. Sure.
Last one here. How much do you value a handcuff example? A Chain and Moser, Gibbs, and Monty.
Well, I don't view those
I
guys as handcuffs. Those are to me like a handcuff is like Jalen Wright is a handcuff, right? Versus
Charbonnet.
yeah, guys that don't have much value unless something happens. Because like I talked about this in one of the videos, like that you have like your standalone value running backs that are going later, like your Ty Chandler guy that's going to have value on his own, versus players that have like no value unless an injury happens. I don't obviously that's not Monty, that's not Mostert, but like Braylon Allen is a good example. Like as somebody that I think if Brees Hall went down, that he would step into that role and would be like a really strong, like high end RB2 or something like that. I think it's a range possibility. I don't when it comes to cuffs, I don't like handcuffing my own running backs. I just think you're betting against your own player at that point. Like I want to be rostering other people's handcuffs. That way, if an injury does happen and you already have them, now you have like like a really good trade chip that you can play with versus if your own running back gets hurt.
Yeah. Marv, top 10 wide receiver, yes or no?
I think the range of outcomes is definitely there for him to do it. I'm going to say he doesn't though. Finishes a top 10 wide receiver this year. I think he's more likely finishes like 12, 15 range, somewhere around there.
If you had me bet between Marv and DJ Moore, I put Marv ahead of him for a top 10 finish, but I think he finishes outside there as well. All right, guys, that is going to do it. Appreciate you all rocking with us. Like we said throughout the show, more than likely we will be going live on Wednesdays for the Start Sit show. We'll also be going live on Sunday mornings as well at 11 o'clock Eastern up until 12:30 to get you ready on Sundays. Kev, you'll be going live tomorrow for DFS to talk about some DraftKings lineups. Normally, that'll be on Thursdays. And then on Saturday, I will be going live with our guy, Tom Corson, to talk some prop bets if you are into player props. Also be answering your questions on YouTube comments throughout the week and also in our Discord channel as well. Is there anything else to get to? Hit that like, hit that sub. Who we have as top 10 running backs for this year or the week? And then Curry, go ahead and throw your team out, and then we'll get out of here on these ones. But Ben, let us know if you're wanting to know for this week or on the season. Here is Curry's team.
I mean, Texans wide receiver. Texans wide receivers. To be a 10-man. I saw the Texans wide receiver here that threw me off. I was reading that when I was saying that. What was I about to say? 10-man league. Like, I don't think it's a terrible team. Zamir White is your RB2. Could go a number of different ways, but wide receiver wise, I think you're good. I don't know what your bench looks like, so it's hard to say there. But this is still a pretty solid team with Saquon, Zamir White, just Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk. I don't think you can be upset about that whatsoever. So I think this is a really solid like B plus if you're just giving a grade. Should I start Najee then?
I'd probably keep Zamir White because it sounds like Jaylen Warren will be good to go.
Yeah, so. And I'll say just for this week, the Falcons last year were actually really good against the run. I think they were, I think it was like the 8th fewest fantasy points running backs, I think is what it was. So like this isn't the best matchup for Najee, where the Chargers were a really good matchup. They just have always struggled against the run.
Motion Man, 10-man PPR, Kyler, Kyron, H.N., A.J. Brown, Colt McBride, Deontay Johnson. Thoughts?
Really solid. Really, really solid. Love that team.
Really like that team. Well done. All right. Officially getting out of here. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments. You can join the Discord. We'll be going live on Sunday morning as well for another start set. DFS tomorrow and player props on Saturday. Thank you all. Let me find the video, and we are out.